and a welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Great Lakes Honda City coming to you on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Appreciate your patience here this morning as we got set and ready to go from these Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, as mentioned, is open Monday through Saturday for sales and service, and all the time online at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. We're up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the globe with you on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, and on WakeUpCallDT.mixlr.com. So however you're connected with the show, we thank you for being with us Monday through Friday between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And of course, it is a Monday, which you know that the Murphalation station has pulled into the building. We'll have Murph here in just a moment to speak on the U.S. Open and Wyndham Clark's victory, as well as a couple stories about Dad being involved with the U.S. Open. A lot of great stuff coming up here in a fantastic moment for not just one, but a couple dads there, and maybe even more that we didn't see on the screen at the U.S. Open. And of course, Major League Baseball, we'll get into some pieces here. Shohei Ohtani is a father again, and we'll also get into, the world of baseball, what's happening here in the grand scheme of things as we head toward closer and closer to the break of Major League Baseball. Where are these teams at? And then we'll get into the NFL and this weird occurrence that's been going on with Brendan Sorsby and his eligibility, admitting to gambling, going to rehab, getting reinstated by Texas Tech, then other Big 12 schools having an issue with that, other schools across the country having an issue with that, which comes to scheduling and saying we're not going to play Texas Tech if they have this guy on the team. And then all of a sudden he decides to drop his lawsuit against the NCAA and enter the supplemental draft for the NFL. A lot of strange stuff going on with that. We'll get into it. And we'll also get into the quarterbacks that I think we may see on the field this season as rookies that are not named Fernando Mendoza. Murph and I have spoken a little bit about this, but the quarterbacks that we see growing and blossoming here in the NFL in their rookie season. Guys that could have themselves some good moments like Cade Klubnik as well as Carson Beck. And then we'll round out, and this is kind of fitting because I was in the New York, New Jersey area over the last few days. The New York Jets may change their home, may change their logo, name. We'll talk to Murph about that because he's a big Jets fan. We'll see how he feels about it to round out today's show. So with that being said, without further ado, Murph, how we doing?
Doing well, my friend. Got to watch a very fun U.S. Open Sunday on Father's Day with my dad, so that was a lot of fun, and got to celebrate a fourth QI4D major victory for the year. So that's a little tidbit. That's the fourth major championship for our driver this year, which is pretty darn sweet.
Yeah, no, and I think like when you look at having that time with Dad is so crucial. It's so important. You and I were talking off the air about, spending Father's Day golfing and whatnot, and, golfing and then watching golf. For you, is that like, let's say you're a dad someday, is that the hope and the dream of, my kid takes me out and we golf for part of the day and then we watch the U.S. Open?
Oh, 1,000%. 1,000%.
And, I think, for me and my dad, we did something a little bit, and happy Father, I know I said off the air to you, but happy Father's Day to your dad. I hope he's doing well. My dad and I, we were trying, we kind of just wing it. And that's just how it's been. My dad, when I was a kid, we'd get in the car. He's like, you want to go for a ride? And we just hop in the car. We'd just drive anywhere. And eventually we would stop, maybe get some ice cream or something like that. So yesterday I fly in, I see my dad, and it's early. It's like noonish time. And, it was happy Father's Day. He was, dressed up, ready to go. And he's like, what do you want to do? And my dad had bought a Crossfire, and he has a two-seater. So he's like, you want to take the Crossfire out? And I was like, yeah, there's never a time to say no to that. So we hopped in, and he was like, all right, buddy, north, south, east, or west. And I was like, north is Oswego. And he's like, yeah. I said, let's go south. So he just started driving, and we just got out into the country, the beauty of New York, and all of this untapped land, this untouched, I call it God's paintbrush that hasn't been touched. And so we're out there enjoying all that is, just created and beautiful. And we got the top down, the breeze is perfect. We're driving all around. Then we get to a certain point, and he would say, all right, right or left? All right, do we go this way or that way? And we were just picking ways. And then we got to this one part, which is crazy because I was telling my dad about the song Amber and my connection to it and what it means to me right now, especially. And so I'm watching, or like I'm talking to him about Amber and the song by 311, and we end up, while I'm discussing it, we're in the town of Amber on Amber Road. And so that was funny. And then because we didn't know where we were going, especially too, which made it funny. And then we stopped. This woman was walking by, and she walked in the front of us, and she stopped, and we just started talking. My dad was like, "Hey, do you know any nice places to go?" And you know, so we were just kind of talking with her of like, where do we go from here? And then she told us, "Hey, you're by Otsego, is it Otsego Lake?" And so the lake was right in front of us. She was like, if you go left, and eventually you'll get to Skinny Atlas Lake, and there's places out there. And I know Skinny Atlas, and I go out there all the time. It's beautiful, and the food out there is great. So we ended up at Skinny Atlas at the Sherwood Inn, had dinner. Then we, drove, took a different route home. And then we, eventually watched the US Open and watched Wyndham Clark win. So, I could say, you know, time is what's important, right? The time that we spend, and be it golfing or taking a ride or going out to dinner or whatever it is, to spend quality time with the ones that we care about and the ones that we're building with. And I think, I mean, to me, I wouldn't have changed anything. I think my dad had a great time. I know I had a great time. Sounds like you and your dad had a great time. So I hope everybody out there had a happy Father's Day. To the greatest father of all, to God, thank you for waking us up this morning and giving us a chance. And to all the dads out there and the dads to be and the stepdads and just all of the dads and the granddads, I just want to say happy Father's Day. And I hope that you are in a family that celebrates you every day. And I hope that you celebrate your kids every day. So, anything you want to add to that, Murph, as we celebrate Father's Day here this morning?
Yeah, man, just happy Father's Day to everybody out there. Our fathers are are the most important people in the world to us. I know there's a lot of people in this world that maybe grew up without one, and for those people, give your mom an extra hug because she probably had to take on two jobs, and that is not an easy thing to do. I got some friends who lost their fathers young. I know I have a very good friend from
Yeah.
high school that lost his dad very, very young. And every year, what he does for Father's Day is he takes a balloon and releases it up into the sky as a tribute for his dad. So I always thought that was kind of cool that he did that, and it's his way of staying connected to his dad on Father's Day. So um, yeah, and obviously we got to see some cool moments at the U.S. Open yesterday that we'll talk about, and um, it's for me this year specifically, I'm even more grateful for my dad than any other year. Those who know me know that there's some things that happened this year, and um, having that quality time with my dad is always important, especially now. So I'm just grateful to have that time, and we definitely had a great day yesterday.
Yeah. And I'm happy that, hopefully dad is doing better and things are going well with Pops. He's always good to talk to Mr. Murphy. And it's funny, every time I see your parents, it's like the easiest thing in the world to start talking with your mom or your dad or both, and then like an hour passes, and I the last time I was talking with them, I was in the kitchen, and like Murph went upstairs, and we're just talking, and it's like time just kind of goes by in a really cool way. So I know how wonderful your parents are because I've had the opportunity to be around them. So shout out to Dad, shout out to Mom, and shout out to Molly, of course, and to the whole family.
She's
And
still, I was looking for her, but she's still in Jersey with them. So they'll be back later today.
yeah, so let's hop into going off of Father's Day and what's going on Father's Day. The U.S. Open has been on Father's Day for many years, and we had this thing that we were watching in real time, which was the fact that the father of Wyndham Clark had taken a red eye and he was there. Wyndham did not know. Wyndham knew that, his supporters were there, his lady was there. There was a lot of people there to, be by his side. And he didn't know his dad was coming. So, we're watching Pops on the screen, he's golfing. And so we're seeing the moment unfold on television, a moment he knows nothing about. And ultimately, at the end of it all, you're waiting. And I ended up sharing the video that, I took off the screen watching it. And the video of him, because my dad's like, well, like, where is he? Like, what's going on? And we were waiting to see him. And then all of a sudden, his dad shows up. And I have to try to not get teary eyed in this, especially sitting next to my dad when I saw it, of, you know, his father just embracing him, them hugging each other, and he's like, and he's saying, you can hear him emotional, and he's like, I'm so proud of you, I'm so proud of you. And it was just, and then knowing that his mom passed away and everything that has probably been hard through that for his dad, for him, it was one of those moments that you just kind of stop and say, hey, whether I love sports or not, whether I watch golf or not, how can you watch a moment like that and not think of your dad or think of someone you're close to, and just that embrace of when somebody's genuinely so proud of you, and they they make the sacrifice and the effort to be there, and just seeing his dad and hearing his dad, that was to me, that was like one of the greatest things I've ever seen.
Yeah, that was an awesome moment, and they talked about him because Wyndham came into the day with a 6-shot lead, so it's not all that surprising that his dad wanted to be there, knowing that there was a very good chance that his son was going to win his second U.S. Open. So he gets out there, and obviously I didn't know this until they talked about it on as he was walking up to the 72nd green. He makes the winning putt, or he nestles his lag putt up to about 6 inches or whatever it was. And then off camera, they showed, off to the side, they showed his dad and him hugging. I'm not sure who he was hugging at the time, but then he had the rest of his family that was there. And when he made the putt and he won, obviously he had his family and his friends all come out and give him love and everything. And then at the very end, that's when his dad came out and we saw that moment. It really was pretty darn cool to see something like that. And we've seen over the years at every major, the emotion of the parents, the emotion of the player with their parents. Um, we saw it back in '97 with Tiger Woods and his father, a few years before Tiger lost his father. And then we saw it again in 2019 when Tiger won his fifth Masters, embracing Charlie in a very similar fashion in the same spot at Augusta National. We saw it when Bryson won the U.S. Open in 2020. Obviously, his parents couldn't be there, but they were on a Zoom, and he was able to talk to him immediately after winning the U.S. Open. And obviously, 2020 was freaking weird. So seeing that was kind of cool. Um, you know, and obviously there's others that I'm maybe forgetting, and the embraces that even Scotty Scheffler too with Bennett a couple of times after his majors last year.
Yeah.
Just the way they, with his wife and his son, it's pretty darn cool. So I think to see that on Father's Day specifically had to be cool for Wyndham and for his dad and for a lot of people to see that.
Yeah, I mean, and again, like to see that with his dad while I'm sitting next to my dad was just really amazing. And for my story specifically with my father, my dad's been through a lot of back stuff. It affected his back. It affected his legs. And there was a time period when my dad thought he was never going to be able to golf again. And my dad loves to golf, and I never appreciated him waking me up at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday to go golfing. And then all of a sudden, I saw that maybe he was never going to do it again. And I thought to myself, I want to have good memories with my dad on the golf course. Like, not that we had bad ones, but I was like, I didn't appreciate it. So it was one of those things of I would love to golf with him again. And then we've gotten to golf a bunch of times together since. He's gotten better. He's in two golf leagues now. So I'm grateful for that. Like, I'm grateful to see my dad fight through everything and get healthy enough and get well to get out there and golf and do something that he loves. So, it's important. Mind, body, heart, and soul. I talk about it all the time. You got to get them aligned. You got to get them working together. And sometimes one of them's not working as good as the other one, and one of those other pieces has to take over. Sometimes the heart's gotta pick up the body and say, all right, let's do this. Sometimes the mind has got to work with the body and say, we could get through this. Sometimes your body's going when you feel like your tank's on empty, and your soul's the thing that kind of brings it all together, and there's the glue to it of when you're tired, you're stressed, you're worn out. Your soul, that essence of you, that thing that God put in you to lift you up and carry you in times when you don't know how to carry yourself. And so, I love the moments that are captured and the things that it reminds you of. And there was another moment that was captured at the US Open, and I want to get to this. And I also want to say to Wyndham Clark the respect that he has for his opponents, including Scotty Scheffler. He knew Scotty was going for the Grand Slam, and some of the people there in New York were not very fond of Wyndham Clark because of,
Yeah, before we get to Miles, can I pop
yeah,
in and
yeah,
just
go ahead.
talk about this real quick?
Yeah,
So obviously we saw at the Ryder Cup that the New York fans were very, very hostile towards the European players, almost to the point where it was bordering on like completely inappropriate.
yeah,
There were some things that were said to Wyndham Clark today, after or yesterday, after hitting some of his shots, that kind of made me sick. And it wasn't anything inappropriate or anything, but it was like the entire crowd was rooting against him.
yeah,
Basically screaming, get in the bunker anytime he hit a tee shot or whatever. Or, cheering when he hit a bad shot. That is not the way golf is supposed to work. That is not appropriate for fans. There were multiple fans who were kicked out of Shinnecock because of this, that were following that final group.
yeah,
So just from one fan to another, and don't get me wrong, I was rooting for Scotty,
yeah,
but I wasn't going to sit there and, basically, even if I was there, I'm not going to yell to Wyndham Clark that I hope you lose. This is not like going and seeing a sport, like your favorite sports team. That is different because you're a home crowd rooting for your team.
yeah,
That's different.
yeah, 100%.
Golf is an individual sport. So it's nobody's home turf. But everybody sure as hell felt like it was Scotty's home turf, even though he wasn't in the great state of Texas. He was out in the Hamptons, out on Long Island, being basically ridiculed all day long. And to a point, I get it. Wyndham Clark is not somebody that is well liked among PGA Tour players. This guy destroyed a freaking locker
Yeah.
after missing the cut at the U.S. Open last year. He is not a guy that is very well liked. But credit to Wyndham, he persevered, overcame a lot of adversity during that round.
Yeah.
Did not hit the ball well, but he scrambled really well. And I know we'll talk a little bit more about like what happened in a minute, but the fact that he had to deal with that all day long is a massive credit to him. He was somebody that going into when he won at LACC in 2023, he talked after the fact a lot about, stuff that he was dealing with in his personal life, with anxiety, with depression, things that he needed help to manage. And he got it. He won. He came through over Ricky Fowler in 2023 in LA, and kind of played well, but didn't, couldn't really come through in a major again until yesterday. And you had to see him overcome a lot of adversity to win, and he did. And I think honestly, he built himself just enough of a cushion to pick up the win over Sam Burns, and it was kind of impressive to watch. So just know, fans of golf out on Long Island and the Hamptons, that was completely inappropriate what you were doing to him yesterday. Nobody ever did that to Tiger, against people playing against Tiger. You can root against him all you want, but you're still going to cheer when he hits a great shot.
Yeah.
Tiger beat those guys because Tiger was in their head, not the fans. If the player wants to get in their head, that's on them. If Scotty was trying to get in Wyndham Clark's head, that's on Scotty. But the fans trying to do that is completely inappropriate. So I just wanted to address that. That is completely unacceptable. These people should not be showing up to golf tournaments and ridiculing the players.
Oh. And we know we know that golf is a quiet sport, and you're supposed to say absolutely nothing. I used to joke that if I was commentating a golf game, that I would be like, "Could everyone please be silent?
You have to use your best Jim Nantz voice.
I'd like to hear the
Your
grass.
best Masters voice.
I'd like to hear the grass grow. I would like to hear the butterflies moving their wings. I would like to know that the feather that's falling from the tree. I want to know the exact moment it hits the ground." Like that. That's how it is. And then after, like when you get toward the end or a big shot happens, people cheer, but they're supposed to be quiet. I'm a firm believer that if you go to a golfing event, especially anything with the PGA Tour, and you're loud at any given moment, unless it's after the shot and you're cheering when it's all done and there's like nobody actually doing any type of, golf action in that moment, like once the putt's over, once the drive's over, whatever, that you can have that moment of clapping or a cheer. I am a believer that outside of those moments, if I said anything, that somebody would come grab me, pull me out of the crowd, and escort me out. Like that's how I feel like golf is like, you better shut up and be quiet unless it's the end of the shot or it's the end of the putt. That's the expectation. So yeah, that is uncalled for, and it's weird and it's strange, and it's not golf as you made mention of. But I also want to say to fans out there in general, at basketball games and football games and baseball games and soccer games, where you feel like, in lacrosse, where you feel like you can say things and it's not like golf and you can have, this back and forth, kind of like tennis is quiet too. But in a lot of these sports where you have been so open, I would like to caution people about, just because it's become commonplace to yell and scream and rant and rave at a baseball game or a basketball game, football, whatever, just because it's become commonplace to be loud doesn't mean you have the right to be disrespectful ever. I mean, I've been in my hometown, in my arena. I've been at the Dome watching a basketball game, and there's a guy standing up and everybody's quiet in the Dome, and he's screaming at Adrian Autry from the other side of the floor, and you can hear this idiot
It
saying
happened when
things
I
to
was
him.
there.
You were there for that.
I was
F
there
you,
for that.
Adrian. F
Oh
you.
my God.
And that.
That if it and it's possible it happened on another day too, but that dude, oh my God, he went way overboard.
Right. But he wouldn't stop. And I've been at games.
No.
I've been at, the last 2
He
years.
finally got talked to by security
Right.
with like 3 minutes left in the game after they had already kind of blown it.
But
But
there's been
still,
right. And there's been moments where, Jim Boeheim before that, his last 2 years, the student section was cheering FU Boeheim. These are 17, 18-year-old kids who haven't even been alive long enough to appreciate Boeheim. And that was disgusting and deplorable. And I got to a point where I just looked at him. I was like, what are you doing? Like, this isn't Cameron Indoor. This isn't Syracuse on the road against Duke. This is Syracuse at home. And Boeheim in front of his wife and children is hearing FU, FU, FU. Same thing with Adrian. And, you go to a baseball game and you go to a Little League game, right? You go to kids, 14 years, 13 years old, 12 years old, and you're screaming and you're fighting, parents yelling at each other, people being abrasive. You got to break it up. I mean, think about, I have heard stories and experienced stories where there's a man walking up like he's going to hit a woman at a game of 12, 13, 14-year-old baseball players. And the cops have to get in, to watching FU Boeheim stuff go on. Fans have gotten to a point where, and I firmly believe this, there's a fan and there's a fanatic. A fan is going to show up to a game, to a match, to a meet, and they're going to cheer. And if their team loses or their team struggles, they're going to be frustrated, but they're not going to ever cross a line of being disrespectful or personally attack somebody. You could be upset. Like, I love Syracuse. It's my hometown. But I don't sit there screaming, yelling, F you, screw you, I hope you die. There's a line you don't cross. There's things you don't do. That's a fan. A fan can be happy, sad, mad, but still respectful. They don't cross a line. A fanatic is somebody who their wife is cheating on them, and so they go to a baseball game and they can't keep the anger in long enough for 2 hours of a Little League baseball game that they got to freak the heck out on some random stranger because they can't handle life. Like, or they're living so vicariously through their children and they never made it in the sport of soccer or baseball or basketball. So now they're losing their minds. I can't, and I coached kids. I coached kids in Carbondale, PA, U12, 8 to 11-year-old soccer. One of the kids on my team, his father was the coach the year before. And I was approached. I said to the YMCA, I said, do you have any job openings for coaching? I would love to coach basketball. And they didn't have anything for basketball, but they had an opening for soccer. And he said, what do you want? I said, give me the youngest kids you got, because I wanted an opportunity to be with those kids as they grew up. So I said, give me the youngest you got. So they gave me U12. And they told me about this dad, and they said, hey, we're kind of like pushing him out of place that, like we kind of didn't want him, because it's a volunteer job. I didn't get paid, but they wanted him to kind of see his way out because he had done some things and he was teaching the kids how to maim other children. He was teaching 8 to 11-year-olds how to slide tackle with your cleats out to try and break somebody's shin or get somebody in the back of the leg in order to cheat to win. Like, if we injure their players, then we got a shot. I don't teach that way. So, long story short of that entire season, I get met on the field during the season by this guy. And all the parents come to pick up their kids. Our field had no lights. So practice was over when the sun went down. Like, if we were practicing and we were going a little bit late on something and that sun went down, parents come pick their kids up. So these parents that trusted me with their kids, they all come get their kids. He's there to get his kid, to get his son. So everybody leaves. And I want to say his son left with somebody else, or maybe his son was waiting in the car. I don't know. But every parent had left. It's dark outside. There's no lights. It's like 7 o'clock. From 7 to almost 8 o'clock, 7, like within that time period, he stood on the field nose to nose with me, telling me how he would do things, telling me essentially that he's better than me. I was a better coach, himself speaking, and threatening me, telling me all of these parents hate you. They don't want you here. I just want to be the one of the bearer of bad news to let you know you're losing. They don't like it. Everybody's mad at you. And scaring me to quit to let him take over. I didn't blink. I stood on the field. I said, "Are you done? Because apparently you don't know who you're talking to." I said, "You stood here all night, and we could stay until the sun comes up. But this is my team, and I'm not going anywhere." And then I walked in my car and I went home. That was with children. That same season, Murph, one of my strikers, right, one of my forwards, he goes after the ball. The goalie goes up to catch the ball, and he goes up to kick the ball into the net, and he accidentally kicks the goalie in the head. Goalie goes down. I saw everything right in front of me. No nefarious business. This kid was a good kid. He is a good kid. We all take a knee. My team takes a knee, praying for this kid. Kid's on the ground. Kid eventually gets up. The coach on the other side, I'm 22 at the time. The coach is old enough to be my dad on the other side. He's in his 40s. And I hear him say to his players, "You see that kid over there? Do whatever you got to do. Like if somebody's not looking, elbow him, knee him. Give it back to him. He maimed your guy. Now you go maim him." And I'm thinking to myself, am I going to have to fight with this coach in the middle of this children's game? Because he just told children to go beat up on my kid, who was literally crying, looking at me from the field saying, "Coach, I swear to you, I didn't mean it." I said, "Buddy, I know." Murph, that was in 2008. 18 years later, I hear all the time from coaches that are coaching children, not coaching pros or college, coaching children, saying it has gotten to a point where the fans in the stands are psychotic and you got to have some people removed. This is like an epidemic. And so fan versus fanatic. Fan, I love my kid. I'm going to be frustrated. I'm going to stick up for my kid, but I'm here because I love you and I support you win or lose. Fanatic, something's going on in your life. Something's upset you and you've come here to make it everybody else's problem. And that's just, it's spread like wildfire and I don't like it.
Yeah. And honestly, somebody that played sports for 20 years of my life, you can tell when something is intentional or not. You can tell if something's intentional.
Yeah.
If that kid that hit the goalie reacted the way you're saying he did, that was not intentional. Clearly. And if that coach can't see that, then he's a moron. I would tell that kid, look, you might get hit here, but take it. They're going to get thrown out of the game, and we're going to win because of it. It's probably going to hurt.
Yeah.
But they'll be the ones that get a red card, get kicked out of the game, and they'll be down a man, and they're going to end up losing. You guys are going to win the game because of it. It's no different than, in baseball, somebody gets hit by a pitch, and you can tell, if the pitcher just lost it or if they did it on purpose.
Yeah.
There's situations where it happened on purpose. And I've been thrown at. Now, granted, mine was in a men's league, and I probably deserved it. But the pitcher was also mouthing off to our guys, and
yeah,
at bat before I hit, he was chirping our guys all day long, and he threw me this terrible curveball that was right down the middle, and I hit a missile right back at him into center field for a hit, and I basically told him, "Don't ever throw me that crap again." And kind of stared at him as I was running down to first base. So I went up there, my next at bat, prepared. I was probably going to get drilled. He missed. And I walked on 4 pitches. And I took my sweet time taking all my gear off to walk down to first base. Now, I knew that was coming. I knew that was intentional, and I was prepared to wear it. I wasn't going to charge them out or anything. I knew I probably had it coming. But I would have done the same thing. I would have very slowly taken all my gear off and walked down to first base. But there are certain situations where you can tell, and maybe where I'm not going to say that what I did was justified, and what he did was definitely not justified.
Yeah.
But, I was defending my guys. We were getting chirped. I hit a missile back at him, so I chirped him back, and he threw at me. That's okay. That was intentional. That's intentional.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have, I wouldn't have been shocked that if he did hit me, our pitcher went and drilled him in his next at bat. Although I probably would have told him not to, because I would have said, "Look, we're killing these guys. Why would we waste our time starting something?" Because he would probably get tossed, the benches would clear, and then that would, it doesn't help anybody.
Right.
But in that situation, that kid clearly didn't do that on purpose. If I'm him in that, if I'm him in that situation, and if you hear the coach say that, I'm telling him, look, you're gonna probably get hit, gonna hurt, but they're gonna get they're gonna get tossed out of the game for retaliation, and we're gonna win because of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, listen, that in baseball, I mean, that seems to be the easiest one, where if somebody gets drilled, that
you can tell by the pitcher's reaction.
Right. And you also know, like, what's going to happen. It's going to, like, everyone in the stadium, everybody watching on television, everyone in both dugouts, they're like, okay, when we get up to bat, there's going to be a retaliation. It's going to be 1-for-1, and then call it a day. I mean, baseball is one of those sports where it's like, hey, if you do this and you do it with intent, we're going to get you back, and then we're going to squash the beef. And if you can't do that, then we're gonna exit the dugout. But I mean, baseball is probably, of any sport, the clear one of that. Basketball, I mean, old Big East, Syracuse, Georgetown, somebody gets elbowed and dropped, and then somebody elbows the guy that did that to their teammate, and then they look at him and say, "Are we good now?" Because we can make this a melee. We can have a problem.
There was a guy when I was playing co-ed soccer in 8th grade, so we had girls on the team. Other team was very much going after the girls and being kind of rough on them. I punched him after the game. Nothing happened after that, but I punched him in the handshake line. Just as a little, okay, now we're even, bud. I'm not the most proud of that, but I didn't hit him all that hard either, but it was more of a, dude, like, figure it out. Safe to say I've almost gotten into my fair share of fights when I was on the field, but all of them were me retaliating, not the other way around.
Yeah.
I didn't start them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, basketball, I was there. There was the end of the game. I had the ball in my hands. Coach was like, hey, 20 seconds left. We're winning. Just don't let them have the ball. So the ball comes in, and I'm dribbling. And I'm trying to get over half court, and I'm dribbling. And this kid comes up to me. He's shorter than me. And he starts going for the ball. He's trying to go for the ball. All right, challenge. I accept the challenge. Dribble. I got this. You're not getting this ball. Then it got to a point where it got to be more abrasive. And now it's not that I'm going after the ball. Now I'm looking at the ref. The guy's pulling at my arm. I pick the ball up. He's punching at the ball. He's pulling at my arm.
And they don't call a foul?
No. So I was like, now he's fouling me deliberately. Now there's hands on me, not the ball. So the clock goes to 0. I go, and the ball, I think at the end, had hit my foot and rolled. I went and picked it up, and I walked back to the kid, and I said, I'm sorry, I think you were looking for this. And I shoved it into his chest. I said, you can have it now. And then I went to my team. Well, Ryan,
That's on the refs though. Like if they're not calling any fouls there, like it probably got to the point where he was just trying to foul you.
well,
You know,
no,
knowing that they need you to go shoot free throws to get for them to get the ball back.
there was a
Or was there
no, it was literally a frustration. I could see from him. I
how much
can't.
were you up by?
I think we were good. It was literally like just run the clock out. I don't think it
Were you up
was.
by like 8 or something?
No, well, I don't know. I don't
Because
think
if
it was
you're
that.
up by less than 4, they're gonna foul you.
Right. But this was not. This was like, I'm mad. I can't get the ball. What the hell's going on? And from this kid. And it got to the point where it's like, I just want the ball. I don't care about my teammates. I just want the ball. And so at the end, Ryan Agricola, my teammate, went over to my bench. He's like, bro, I saw how that kid was eyeing you, and I saw what he did. I think he wants to fight. And he was talking to his buddy. He goes, let's get in the line together, in the handshake line. He goes, you see him, punch him in the face. I'll jump over you, punch the other guy. Let's have some fun. I said, Ryan, I'm not fighting with anybody in this dang line. I said, let me tell you something right now. I said, he wanted the ball. He never got it. I did my job. So I went through the line, shook his hand, and went about my day because I'm not that type of guy. Like, I'm the type of guy where if you come after somebody I love, somebody that I care about, then yeah, I'm a different dude. And I've seen what that looks like. I have seen my level of protection where I can be peaceful, but very clear. And I don't believe that violence solves anything. I am just a person that you're not going to touch my wife. You're not going to touch my kids. You're not going to touch my parents. You're not going to touch my dog. You're not going to touch my friends. My friends don't worry about it. My family doesn't worry about it. If I'm out somewhere and you're my girl, there could be meteor strikes and we're going to get through this thing. Like, I'm not letting anything come. I'm the one that's going to stand in front of you. I'm not the one that's going to stand behind. And I have shown that. There was a time, Murph, you don't know at Marywood. You want to hear, this is a non-sports story, but you want to hear the story?
Of course.
There was a Marywood moment.
Don't tease me.
So I'm at Marywood, and this is 2006. And I'm living in the Woodland Townhouse apartments. And I'm living with these guys because the people I thought were my friends, I thought we were all going to get a house together. Well, I was the odd man out. They all got a house. And guess what? Sorry, Dan, you don't have one. So I wanted to live in the townhouse apartments. I didn't want to live in the dorms anymore. And this one group of guys needed a roommate. Well, they're all like of the same mind, and I'm not. So we all get in this house together, and I don't fit. And there's a lot of stuff that happened in the house. Like, I was coming off of getting hit by a drunk driver. And so I took the bed, and then there was 2 bunk beds. I got there first. I took the bed. I come back. All my stuff is on the top bunk. And I see this guy, Ryan. I go, what are you doing? He's like, oh, that's my bed. And this is how he talked. I'm not. This is my bed. And my bed this is for me. And I just, and I was like, bro, I got hit by a drunk driver. Like, you want it because you're greedy. I want it because health-wise, it's good for me to be closer to the ground right now. So that's how it started. And then you fast forward to these guys kept clogging the toilet upstairs. And the toilet upstairs was right above the toilet downstairs. So when the toilet got clogged and it overflowed, water would drip through the ceiling of the toilet downstairs, through the light, through like the vent, which was not safe by any stretch of the imagination. So I'm dating somebody at the time, and this is 20 years ago, and she comes to the house. And we're at the house, and it's like 10 o'clock at night. Everybody's in bed. I go into the bathroom. The bathroom's overflowed. There's like at least an inch of water on the ground, standing water. You can't walk into the bathroom and not put your foot in water. So her and I are on our hands and knees in the piss water, trying to clean up the bathroom at 10 o'clock at night. Not our problem. We didn't do it. It's friggin' gross. And here we are. This guy, Mike, that I was living with, he opens the door. He looks at me. He says, can you shut the up? I'm trying to sleep. I turned around. She was behind him, and I was in. He's here. She's here. I looked at him. I said, Mike, go back in your room right now. I cannot express to you how much you need to be not here. And I said, Mike, go back in your. And I kept saying, I said, go back in your room. Oh yeah, what are you gonna do about? I said, Mike, I'm telling you right now, go back in your room. She grabs him, pushes him into his room, and shuts the door. She goes, I'm telling you this right now because I was looking at you. She said, your eyes completely. She's like, I looked at you and I was like, he's about to black out. Like, he's about to go through this man. So that's the thing. People know I'm a peaceful guy, and I am. I got in one fight my whole life, 5th grade. Kid was bullying everybody, pushed me. I had had enough because he had not only bullied me, he had bullied like half the room, and I punched him in the face. And he was surprised. I was surprised. I didn't get in trouble. The gym teacher comes in and they're like, oh, Danny, give him detention. He just punched Andrew in the face. And the teacher looked at me. He goes, Dan Tortora? Yeah, okay. Because I never got in trouble. And so, but that was, I had enough. I had had enough. And in the case of like Mike and Marywood, I had had enough. I think we all come to a point where it's enough. But I'm a peaceful man. I'm not going to get in a bar fight. I'm not going to put myself in a stupid situation. However, if I'm in a bar and I'm with my girl and you come at her some type of way and you're disrespectful, if I feel like I need to say something or be a certain way, I'm going to make sure she feels safe at all times. This world's a crazy friggin' place, but I'm not going to put anybody in a situation where they got to feel like somebody doesn't have their back, and I would want somebody to have mine. So, we now bring it full circle back to the game stuff. I don't ever want to see anybody in a fight, but I'll tell you straight up, when somebody acts a fool and acts a certain way, we got to stand. Because if I'm watching a man or a woman doing nothing wrong and somebody comes up and starts to get abrasive, I can't help myself to sit there and do nothing. I got to get up and go, hey, you know what? What are we doing? I call it the alley approach. If you saw a woman get attacked in an alley, would you walk by and say, thank God it's not my girlfriend, not my wife, not my mom, not my kid, not me? Or do you stop and help the woman? Because I'll tell you this right now, Murph, people that stop to help, now they're like, well, what if I get stabbed? What if I get attacked? What if the guy takes his focus off of the woman, goes on me? What if I do my best and can't help the woman and now he attacks us both? But here's the other side.
That's the problem these days.
If I don't help the woman or the man that's in that alleyway that's being attacked, can I live with that? Can I live with shutting my eyes at night, wondering whatever happened to that person? And that's where I say, what type of person are you? Are you the type of person to stand up even when it's scary? Or are you the type of person to walk by and just be thankful it's not you?
Well, I think if you walk by, see it, and then just call 911.
Well, do something.
Tell exactly, yeah. Like, am I, like, if I see somebody threatening somebody with a gun, am I going to go over there and confront the guy? Probably not. But it doesn't mean you're not going to call 911 and be like, hey, this guy's threatening somebody with a gun, and this is where he is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, like, that's, I mean, here's the thing. Everyone's going to, we've all kind of been in some fights. I was in a couple, and one or two in college that were brief. I almost got. I kind of hindsight wish I would have gotten into one in sports, just to say I have, but I was never part of a benches clearing brawl. I was never part of a anything in like a basketball game or anything. It was just the little things, but it was one of those things where we all got to stand up for our guys, for our teammates. There was one I'm not proud of in high school that got me suspended for a game. That there was this crowd of softball players that was chirping our team all day long, and I decided to flip them the bird.
Yeah.
Got myself benched and almost thrown out of the game by, well, I would have gotten thrown out of the game, but I think my coach took care of that for me. And I he suspended me for a game, which was understandable.
Yeah.
But it was literally me just defending my team. Um, there was a guy in high school basketball that was, fouling everybody hard all day long, and half of them weren't called. So, um, I went up for a shot. He fouled me, and I kind of got in his face. And this dude was a lot bigger than me.
Yeah.
But I got in his face and kind of had to get separated from him. But that was just trying to defend the team. We talked about the one in men's league where pitcher was chirping our guys, and I ended up getting thrown at. Again, just defending the guys. Like this is something where I'm not going to ever instigate.
Yeah.
But if there's somebody that's going, going after our guys or chirping our guys and whatnot, I'm not going to sit down and do nothing.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah. I mean,
if I'm it never happened, but if I was a pitcher and our guys got thrown at, like intentionally, I'll throw at a guy. I would have done that. Now, obviously, my shoulder is in no place to ever be able to pitch again, but um, luckily in golf now, it's not something I really all have to worry about all that much, because the only fights I can have on the golf course are with myself because I suck. But yeah, it's if you're defending somebody, nobody's ever gonna come after you for it. Um, but that's, I mean, you make a great point. Like it doesn't matter, what's going on. Even if you don't actually get involved, if you call somebody, you do something, even if it doesn't involve actually getting involved, that counts too.
yeah. Yeah. And that, I mean, there's, what do they say? Silence is complicence. And so, I mean, yeah, if I'm at a Yankee game and I see somebody acting a fool and they're over somewhere and they're going back and forth and this and that, I'm going to go get somebody, right? I'm not going to go. And there's a difference to me in like that as opposed to, you know, don't talk to my girl that way. Don't talk to my dad that way. My dad, because my dad's the type of person where if he's got, like if somebody's acted some kind of way and being disrespectful, he'll say something. That's my dad. But my dad, he he likes that, and battle back. I don't want to say he likes it, but he's more apt to be like, I'm going to yell at a guy in a parking lot where I'm like, Dad, he might have a gun. You know what I mean? Like there's a difference with me.
You kind of have to worry about that these
Right,
days.
you do. So I'm a peaceful man, and I've always been a peaceful man. But I'm also a man who knows I don't like bullies. I never have. And I don't like people saying, I got to move. Why can't you move? I feel that. I feel that. I really do. Like, what made you important that I got to move for you? But you don't have to move for me. Like, I'm here. Just go over here, go over there. Why are you standing behind me asking me to move when you know that you're just doing that to cause a problem? I mean, you can easily solve your problem. But again, you know the people that are there that have an attitude and they got an issue. And a lot of the times there's something going on in their lives and they feel a lack of control. And so they flip out on a bunch of strangers because I don't care about these people, so I don't have to worry about them. Where my thing is different. I care about everybody. I don't want to see anybody get hurt. That's just my nature. Let's get into Wyndham here before we take a step aside here, as the conversation started with people being disrespectful to him. At the end of it, in true New York fan fashion, they were like, hey! in true bandwagon, we're on live television, we ain't gonna boo this guy. So they gave him some love. And New York, listen, I know other places do it. I'm just saying, I know how much you hate your Yankees and then you love them, how much you hate your Mets and then you love them, how much you hate your Jets and your Giants. Listen, Giants fans that were probably spitting evil stuff out toward their team, now all of a sudden they got Jackson Dart, they got John Harbaugh, they think they're going to be all right. So those same fans that might have said some stuff that you wouldn't want your mom to hear are also the fans that are probably really excited right now. So Wyndham Clark, he gets the victory. Listen, a year ago, we kind of alluded to it here. He had to apologize. He smashed the Oakmont Country Club's 121-year-old lockers after he missed the cut in the U.S. Open. He didn't leave any dents at Shinnecock Hills Golf Club on Long Island, though. He definitely left his mark. He got his second U.S. Open title, 2023, and now here in 2026. He became the ninth wire-to-wire winner of the U.S. Open with a closing round of 3 over 73. Saw his lead shrink to only one stroke at Sunday's final round, but after Sam Burns narrowly missed a birdie putt on 17 and 18 ahead of him, he took control. Clark won again despite many of the fans in New York rooting for anyone but him, as we spoke about. At least one fan was ejected, as Murph spoke about, for heckling Clark, and others cheered when his tee shot went into the bunker on number 7. So he said, quote, Wyndham Clark said, quote, man, they definitely didn't want me to win. It's pretty rare in an Open Championship or a major to have fans kind of boo against your shots or cheer for bad shots. I mean, that was tough, but sometimes being the underdog is nice, end quote. Now, he played in the final round with Scottie Scheffler, who was trying to get his Grand Slam, and fans serenaded the world's #1 golfer multiple times in singing Happy Birthday when Scottie Scheffler was walking around. It was his 30th birthday yesterday, and a God bless and a happy birthday to Scottie on Father's Day. Clark said, quote, I get it. They were rooting for Scottie. Grand Slams only happen a few times. He's going to get it. He's the best player in the world, but today it's my day, end quote. And that's what he said at the end when he was holding the cup, because I remember that moment very clearly. Now, Burns finished second at 3 under after carding a 3 under 67, his best finish in a major. Tom Kim, a 3-time PGA Tour winner who had to qualify for the U.S. Open after falling to 141st in the official world golf ranking, finished third at 1 under after posting an even par of 70. And Scheffler did say, quote, it was good to be kind of back in the arena. I felt like at times this year I was on the outside looking in. I felt like I had given up too many shots early in the week. The positions I put myself in the last couple of years, I was in the final group, in leads, holding leads after 54 holes and 36 holes. This year, I haven't had many 36-hole leads. I haven't had any 54-hole leads, end quote. Clark, being 32 years old, capturing this U.S. Open in 2026. The last one in 2023 was at Los Angeles Country Club. He's now won twice in only 6 starts in the National Open. Only John McDermott in 4 starts, Walter Hagen in 5 starts, and Ernie Els in 5 starts accomplished the feat in fewer starts, according to Elias Sports Bureau. Clark was an underdog in the last round 3 years ago. He played in the final round in California with California native Ricky Fowler and held off Rory McIlroy and Scheffler to win his first major. Clark said, quote, I kind of did the same thing. Anytime someone said something negative to me, I replaced it with something positive. You know, some of it's self-deserved. I kind of brought it on myself. But I also get it too. Scottie was going for the career Grand Slam, and it hasn't happened very often. Yeah, it was tough. But I'm proud of myself that I battled through. I mean, things really could have gotten away from me. I stood tough. I would have liked to have won by more, but as long as you win, it doesn't matter. End quote. I love what he said. Everything negative to me, I replaced with something positive. That's a big life lesson. To take each negative thing and say, I'm going to pull that out and I'm going to put something positive in its place. Your thoughts on the day that was yesterday and the closing of the U.S. Open?
Yeah, just to get to what he said at the very end first, I think that is, talking about replacing a negative with a positive. I think that is somebody who has dealt with a lot of adversity in his life, has dealt with anxiety, has dealt with depression, as we talked about before, and has found ways to cope, has found ways to get himself better. That is clearly a guy who has learned from that. So I think that is Wyndham saying that, I think probably tells us that he's kind of fully healed from that, which is a great thing. Obviously, you want the best for these guys, and he's able to get himself into a position to win tournaments again, and it's a great thing to see. Now, as we talked about, yes, the crowd was very much against Wyndham Clark all day long. And it kind of showed. He definitely got rattled, as you saw. I mean, he came out, started off pretty hot. Well, not hot, but hot for U.S. Open standards. Started out well, and then he gets himself into trouble on, I believe it was the fifth hole where he double crossed himself and ends up in the high stuff in the fescue. Um, Ended up somehow, some way, making a bogey, which honestly is for what happened on that hole was kind of incredible. After playing a little bit of hopscotch back and forth, but then he figured it out of the back nine. He was down to four over. He went out in 38, and then he birdies 10.
Yeah.
Ends up making a bogey on 13, birdies 16, three putts at 17 for bogey to give him only a one shot lead going into the final hole. But then he goes out and hits his iron shot out of the first cut, which he didn't particularly love, to about 52 feet. And he nestled the very first putt, his first putt, very, very close to the point where he was, let's see, about 6 inches away. And then he marked his ball, took it all in, and um, it was really, really cool to see that. And um, Burnsy made a run, that's for sure. He played really well. He had the low round on the course that day. Scotty kind of put himself into bad positions where he wasn't really making any putts, and
Yeah.
couldn't get up and down a few times, and made some ill-advised bogeys. And really, the guy, they say golf's the game of misses. The guy who misses it the best is going to win the tournament. That was exactly what happened with Wyndham. He gave himself a big cushion after Friday, and he was at 7 under par. Steadied the ship yesterday to shoot even par. Made some or on Saturday to shoot even par. Made some unbelievable up and downs, and then he goes out and did just enough to win. And as he said, you don't have to win by a lot. You just got to win. You just got to, get the ball in the hole 72 times in less shots than the guy behind you. And he did that in one less shots than Sam Burns. Sam Burns is going to win a major someday. I can promise you that. Sam Burns is a very good player. Um, he made a run, missed a couple of putts that he could have made, and it ultimately ends up costing him the tournament, or at least a chance to be in a playoff with Wyndham Clark. Because Wyndham Clark making that bogey at 17 definitely made things interesting. Because he birdied 16 to get to five, and he had a two-shot lead, and he missed a 5-footer on 17 to make, and ends up making bogey. So it wasn't easy, but he got it done. He was, and I want to, I mentioned it at the top of the show that he was using our driver, the TaylorMade QI4D driver, fourth major championship for us. So now I get to excitedly say, anytime anybody asks about the driver, I'm like, you know what? We do have four major championships with this driver already this year. So that's a really fun part. That's a really fun part of working for TaylorMade, is you get to, especially this year. We had two major winners last year, but they didn't use our driver. This year, they have used our driver, and all five have used a TaylorMade driver. Aaron Rye just uses an old one.
Yeah.
But four of the five have used QI4D, which is pretty darn cool. But some of the shots that he hit, he's a big hitter. He's got some speed. He's the type of guy that can cruise at 183, 185 ball speed with the driver. He hit some shots that were very interesting. He hit a gnarly cut on, I want to say it was hole 11 or 12, where he shaped it like, I think it was like a 40-yard slice,
Yeah.
but that was what he was going for. He hit a bunt drive down on, I think it was hole 8 or 9, that put him in a perfect position to have a 60-yard flip wedge. And I think no, that was on 10. And he goes and makes birdie. So he was really using that driver to his advantage all week long. And even though he double crossed himself on a couple, like one or two times on Sunday, he gave himself chances to win, and he ripped it down 18 to get himself into a position to make a putt, and um, the rest was history.
Yeah.
So if you want any more proof that that driver is good, look at Wyndham Clark going and winning a major, and keep in mind, folks, he is not a TaylorMade staffer.
Yeah.
He is a free agent. He uses a ping putter. I believe he still uses Titleist irons. He uses Vokey wedges. He uses a Titleist golf ball. He is a free agent. He could use whatever he wants, and he chooses to use our driver. So that's always for me. I think that's always a cool. The cool thing is when you have the free agents that are using your gear, and
Yeah.
it speaks to how good the product actually is.
Yeah. And credit, like you said, credit to TaylorMade. I always say, the last couple of years, when I'm using a TaylorMade golf ball, it always seems to do better for me. So I could shout out TaylorMade as well. And if they want to partner with Wake Up Call, they can email tortoramedia@gmail.com. So with that being said, looking at another dad here in an awesome moment at the U.S. Open on Father's Day, Miles Russell with a surprise to his father in Southampton, New York. So Joe Russell had no idea as he stood outside the ropes on the 18th hole at Shinnecock Hills, watching his 17-year-old son, Miles Russell, play the last hole in his first ever U.S. Open. Caddy Raymond Biscanza was suddenly handing his caddy to the caddy bib and pulling him inside the ropes. Before he knew it, Joe was caddying for Miles in the U.S. Open on Father's Day. Miles said it was a surprise. Former pro golfer Steve Wheatcroft recommended it to me at the start of the week when I qualified. And it's like, oh, well, I got to make the cut for it to happen, right? End quote. Russell, the number one ranked junior in the world, shot 72-71 during the first two rounds of the tournament and made the cut by 2 strokes. Playing alongside Jackson Koiven, the top amateur in the world, Russell bounced back from a 3 over 74 in the third round by shooting even par in the final round to finish his first major at 7 over. Quote, it was a great week. I mean, just to be here is an honor. It's pretty special to be here. So to play good golf on Thursday and Friday and make it to the weekend is really cool. End quote. Before the round, Russell and his caddy checked with the USGA to see if they would be allowed to pull in his dad and make the switch on the 18th. The USGA gave the go-ahead and the plan was executed. Now the memory of his first major appearance and first major cut will always include time with his father. Russell said, quote, growing up, we would chip for a really long time. We'd go out at night at dark and I'd just sit out there and just shoot for a long time and get all these different shots. And I'd always like to hit flop shots when I was little, and he would always try to get me a little lower. It was such a cool moment. This makes it that much more special, end quote. Russell got into the U.S. Open through open qualifying in Florida, where he secured a spot in a playoff. His caddy in the qualifier also made headlines as Russell had his friend and fellow Florida State commit Charlie Woods, Tiger's son, on the bag. Russell said, quote, everything of of what it meant to have his dad with him. He was always there. Without him, I don't know. I probably wouldn't be here. End quote. So we make a switch on the 18th to get in his first Open, in his first qualifier here for it, Miles Russell's dad out there. So Joe gets to be surprised and they get to have this moment. And then we get to have the moment with the champion. So for someone's first U.S. Open, time with dad, to someone's U.S. Open title and time with dad, dad surprises son, son surprises dad. Pretty cool full circle moment for everybody.
Oh, 100%. And that was one that I was watching the broadcast, so I watched it all happen live. And Mike Tirico this is before the main coverage started with Dan Hicks and Kevin Kisner. But Mike Tirico talked about it, that they submitted a request with the USGA, and it was approved. And one thing I will say, huge tip of the cap to the USGA. They did not have to do that.
Yeah.
But I also think they realized that, he was never going to win. So he's out of contention. It's not something that's going to affect pace of play. It's not something that's going to affect the outcome of the tournament. So I think that was really cool to allow them to do that. And I'm sure his dad was thrilled, and I'm sure Miles was pretty happy about it as well. Miles is a guy, if you don't know the name Miles Russell, pay attention to it. He is going to be a PGA Tour winner one day. I can promise you that. He's going to play at Florida State. He's going to win a lot of golf tournaments. He's probably going to compete in the U.S. Amateur, and he's probably going to win the U.S. Amateur at some point. It would not shock me one bit. So that kid can play, and he's only 17 years old, and he made the cut, and he was one shot back of being the low amateur for the tournament. So huge credit to him for that, for how he played, but also huge credit to him for having that idea, and also to the USGA for allowing them to do it. So that was a really cool thing to see on Father's Day. And it really had me thinking about, if I ever was fortunate enough to be in a situation like that. And I know I will never be. I'm not good enough to play in the U.S. Open or anything, but not that my dad could do it, but even if he was just there, that would be, something that'd be pretty darn cool. But I'm sure they had a great time, and Miles played very well in the U.S. Open. And like I said, mark my words, this kid's going to be really good. So remember that name.
Yeah. And never say never, Murph. We'll take a step aside inside the Great Lakes Honda City studios. As we've talked about the U.S. Open, we will come back with a message from Iranian players that they left in their locker room at the World Cup. Plus, plenty more. Stay with us.
Hi, this is Gina Husted. I'm part owner of Skippy's Ice Cream. The other half is my better half, Don Husted Jr. When somebody comes up to the truck and it's a family, it's nice that the older generation is nostalgic and they can tell the younger generation, back in my day, we used to have the truck around our neighborhood. So now you're lucky because the truck can come to your party, and you're lucky that this truck is at a festival and you're getting to buy the ice cream. And basically we're ice cream that comes to you now, specifically comes to you, not for you waiting for us, we're coming to you. We will do neighborhoods if you have a block party. We do birthdays, we do anniversaries, we do celebrations of life, we do wedding showers, we do festivals, we'll do corporate events, we have a lot of corporate picnics, we have family reunions, so it's a whole wide range of whatever party you have, we'd love to be at. We're so appreciative of the community, always coming up to us at festivals and calling us to have different events. We have a lot of return customers. We always have people coming up to our truck. We're always there for the community. We always try to give back to different organizations and fundraisers, and so I think the community sees that. We like to give back to them. This is where we live. This is where we were raised. This is where our kids were raised. So the community is very special to us. I mean, obviously, we've lived here our whole lives, so it means a lot that they come up to our truck and that they choose us, because we're just there to please the community and deal with as many people as we can in this community, because this is, like I said, where we were born and raised. If you'd like to get in touch with Skippy's Ice Cream and have us at your next event, I would suggest using our email, skipthecake, skipthecake, skipthecake@gmail.com. That's the fastest way to get a hold of us. It's the easiest way to get a hold of us, and that's going to get the fastest response from us. If you choose to call, if you don't have an email, then you can call 315-456-9750, and we'll be glad to get back to you as soon as we can. Skippy's Ice Cream, the original ice cream truck.
Here's a message from Renee from Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York. Open Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and Sundays for brunch.
It's a lot like the way that my mom and dad ran their restaurant. We have put in place a lot of people that are family to us, very similar to how my dad hired people that were family to him. And then the tradition I'm carrying on is a lot of the items that are on our menu are my dad's. And he taught our chefs how to recreate his dishes. So I think that Tommy McInerney, who our executive chef is, to him it is an art. And I think that when he does create a dish, it's not just about making the food taste delicious, which is definitely our priority, but it's an art to him, and it's almost like his canvas on a plate where he just wants the colors to look great, and people love it because he takes pride in that. And Brian and I appreciate that. We want it to obviously look good and taste good. I will tell you, when we opened up, it was 6 weeks before COVID. And what was amazing was the community, our friends and family stepped up, and everybody did takeout. Everybody supported us. Our hearts were just so filled. So to Brian and I, obviously our friends come all the time, and we just have repeat customers in Jamesville, and I think people going to our previous restaurant in Green Lakes are making the trip to come to Brian's Landing to support us. And I mean, I think we have great food and a great atmosphere. So it's very, very important to us.
Head to Brian's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York, where memories have become recipes that are now meals to share with you. Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and on Sundays for brunch. And be sure to come out for live music Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Life gets busy, and sometimes that means us running around. So Canine Camp Dog Daycare offers you an opportunity to give your dog a place to stay while you take care of what you need to throughout the day. Canine Camp Dog Daycare is located on 228 Old Bridge Street in East Syracuse, New York. You can see it from the highway, and it's just off of Erie Boulevard across from BJ's Wholesale Club. Call 315-437-7110. That's 315-437-7110 to schedule an appointment to bring your dog in and tour the facility. Appointments are Monday through Thursday after 6:30, where you and your dog can see everything that Canine Camp Dog Daycare has to offer, including a self-serve dog wash and a retail store filled with all of your dog's wants and needs, including food, treats, harnesses, leashes, and more, making Canine Camp Dog Daycare your one-stop shop for your furry loving friend. Right, Lily? In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you.
Hi, this is Chris Rauda.
And Colleen Rakowski from Gray's Craze of Clay.
It's a fun, innovative, upscale catering solution. We've turned eating into a whole new experience. Each of our boards is packed with delicious mix of artisan cheeses. We use premium cured meats, fresh fruits, nuts, and all of the sweet touches that really bring out the best in every perfect bite.
We offer something as small as a grab and go that feeds one, maybe two people, to our large board that can serve anywhere up to 25, 28 people. So we have the ability to really meet and hopefully exceed all of our customers' expectations when it comes to the different varieties of things that we have.
Charcuterie boards or boxes are healthy, fresh, delicious. They're made to order. We're baking the breads here daily. We're baking the cookies here daily. All of our dips are homemade, made in-house. All of our spreads are all made in-house.
When you open that board or box that we have delivered or you have picked up, we want you to know that it was made with care and designed to completely elevate your event, celebration, or meeting.
We've catered parties and events for up to 300 people. So if you're walking in to grab something for lunch or something for date night or movie night, that's great too. Our events go from you eating in the car on the way home to a catering event in a rehearsal dinner or cocktail hour or party.
When we do, again, know what the event is, specifically for a wedding, we like to schedule tastings so the bride and groom can come in and see what we have to offer. And we can then, as we talk, to try to understand what they're looking for, what the venue's like. We do like to have that one-on-one interaction when it comes to catering bigger events.
Our address is 4599 State Route 31, Suite 5 in Clay, New York. We're on the corner of Route 31 and Henry Clay at Clay Marketplace.
You can order on the phone by calling area code 315-409-4171 or online at grayscraze.com/clay-ny. Come visit us at Gray's Craze of Clay, New York,
where we want you to celebrate everything.
Hey everybody, this is Rockney Roberts from Willow Rock Brewing Company. We are here in Cicero at the Willow Rock Pizza Pub.
And I'm Kevin Williams, also from Willow Rock Brewing Company. Happy to be here and happy to be partnering with CNS and Dan Tortora.
You want some place where you can feel comfortable and hopefully ingratiate yourself with the community. And Kevin, he grew up right down the road from here. I grew up in Brewerton, so not too far away. We know the area, we know the people, they're great, and we were just really excited to be able to come to the area.
Yeah, and having the opportunity to meet some of these coaches, some of the people in general already, and seeing the CNS colors kind of around, and already partnering on a smaller level with individual teams really made this make sense to us to really formalize kind of a partnership with the school and get this rolling.
You know, Willow Rock to me has always been about high quality beverages, high quality experiences, and now high quality food in our pizza pub. You know, that was something new for us when we came to Cicero. Right from the drop, we knew we were going to have a focus on the highest quality food to go with our high quality beer. At the Willow Rock Pizza Pub, you're getting high quality, hand cut, top notch ingredients. We're open for lunch. That's a really important thing for us, is to be able to get that person in here like, hey, you only got 30 minutes for lunch, but we're going to have something for you that you can get quickly and available to everybody.
Yeah, we wanted something that was just a little bit outside the box, a little bit outside of comfort zone, but still something that you could rely on to be consistent and easy to look at and easy to be like, oh, I can see myself eating this. I can see myself wanting to have that more than once. Eating a whole pizza like our beef on weck pizza, I've never seen one anywhere. It's just a great ideas, great inspiration across the board. We're their spot to stop. We're their friendly neighborhood watering hole, as well as pizza place and place to stop for a restaurant. Not just beer drinkers here. We've got wines, we got cocktails, we got non-alcoholic stuff for the kids.
The location is more important today than it ever has been before, and we're lucky enough to be here in Cicero. The Willow Rock Pizza Pub is a place where you can bring your family. You can come in, you can grab a soda, you can relax. You can come after a game, before a game, your parents, your grandparents. Our goal is to make sure that everyone's comfortable here. We want students, we want athletes, we want your coaches. It's going to be a good time. So come here, enjoy the high quality food, high quality beverage that we're going to offer to everybody. And hey, go North Stars.
We're so happy to have the North Stars. We are very much a kid-friendly establishment. We have tons of space outside for everybody to be playing outside, as well as listening to live music, enjoying some pizza.
The Willow Rock Pizza Pub is open 6 days a week here in Cicero. That is Tuesday through Sunday. And our website is willowrockbrew.com, and our socials are at Willow Rock Brew. So find us on the net, find us in person. We'll see you soon.
And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Great Lakes Honda City, there for you on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. They're open for sales and service Monday through Saturday and all the time online. See their inventory of new and used vehicles. You can buy and lease today at Great Lakes Honda City. Check out greatlakeshondacity.com. So, Murph and I talking about a lot of things here to start off today's broadcast. Honoring the dads once again. Happy Father's Day. Happy Mother's Day. Happy every day to our parents that are there, that care. To everyone that stepped up, right? Some of us have biological mom and dad. Some of us have step parents. Some of us have foster parents. Some of us have been adopted into a family. I mean, whether it's blood or adoption, whether it's grandma and grandpa take care of me, or it's mom and dad, or it's step parents, or it's whoever, I just want to say to each and every single one of you, every day is Parents' Day, is Kids' Day, because when it comes to family, it ain't always blood. It's the ones that love you the most and care about you the most. And to everybody out there doing a lot of this stuff on their own, just know, I see you, I value you, you're never by yourself, and I know that God has your back. There are some incredible people out there doing the work of 10 people, 20 people on their own. And I just want you to know, we don't need a holiday to say, keep going. You got this. God loves you. I respect it. I respect you. And help is coming. That's what I would say. So with that being said here, let's jump into the Major League Baseball world. Speaking of dads and Dad's Day, Shohei Ohtani is a dad again. And let's get into that with Mr. Shohei after becoming a father again. Of course, he does what Shohei does, and that's hit a home run. So, Shohei Ohtani adding to his family. I'm looking at the picture right now. Just a beautiful, beautiful picture. And you don't see the child's face. You see this like blue shirt and a little dog, like a puppy on it. It says, "We are again overjoyed to experience this wonderful day in our lives together. Thank you for being born safely. We would also like to express our heartfelt gratitude to everyone who has supported us throughout this journey, Shohei and Mamiko." So, Shohei Ohtani, Los Angeles Dodgers player, posted that on his Instagram account on Saturday. Then Ohtani was in the Los Angeles lineup for a 3-2 loss to Baltimore. He accounted for the Dodgers' first run with a solo home run in the 9th inning, his 16th of the season. And the post, as I said, showed an image of a baby's hands and feet in a blue blanket, possibly an indication that Ohtani has a son to go with his daughter, who was born in April 2025. Tucked in the baby's arms is a tiny stuffed animal version of Ohtani's beloved dog, Decoy, who also got his own photo at the bottom of the post, which is really, really cool. So that was the dog. I thought it was on the shirt, but it was actually a toy.
His dog is adorable.
Yeah. So the news that Ohtani was about to welcome a second child was a surprise Friday. He wasn't in the Dodgers lineup, which was posted much later than usual after the team said he was, quote, away from the team on paternity, end quote. The absence of the two-way star did not last long as he hit leadoff on Saturday, finishing the night 1 for 4 as the club's designated hitter. He remains in line to make his next start from the mound this Wednesday, on the road against the Minnesota Twins, Dodgers manager Dave Roberts said. Roberts was quoted as stating, "I talked to him briefly and congratulated him and Mamiko. He says his body feels great, so the day off was good for him, but I didn't talk much about anything else." End quote. Ohtani has never publicly revealed his daughter's name and has carefully avoided showing her face in the rare family photos he posts on social media. And listen, people might think it's because he's a celebrity, but I have friends that do not post pictures of their children, or if they post pictures of their children, they do not show the faces. And it's a sad part of what this world has come to, but it is a protection effort. Some people like their privacy, and some people are doing it to just protect the sanctity of their home. So listen, this is how I feel about this stuff, and it is very clear. I use social media to promote my business and build my brand. Outside of that, you don't see me do too much more on social media. You don't see, like, if I'm going out on a date, you're not seeing that. unless it's something that it's agreed upon, wants to be seen. When I'm out, I want to be private there. When I'm with my dad, I'm sending that picture to someone I care about. I'm not posting that picture online, so I would say I very much am a hermit, and people would disagree. They're like, "You're on social media all the time. You never sleep." And I would say, yes, I'm on social media for my business. But when it comes to my personal life, I like being very private. I believe in the protection of the family, the protection of the bubble. So not only do I congratulate Shohei Ohtani and his wife Mamiko, but I will also say, Shohei, I get it. I respect it. And your family is your family. And in a world where everybody wants to know everything about everyone, I like that there's some sacredness to this stuff.
For sure. And you know, we've all seen his dog. Everybody loves Little Decoy. But yeah, like no one's gonna argue with anybody wanting to keep their kids, keep their kids out of the spotlight, keep them private, and obviously Shohei Ohtani is a massive name,
Yeah.
right? So you don't want the kids to grow up in the spotlight. So if that's the way you think that it's the best way to handle it, then that by all means um, that is perfectly okay. That is, you're not going to see everybody's kids. If they want to bring their kids out, they'll bring their kids out. But, don't be surprised when they don't. That's just somebody's personal life. Personal life and professional life aren't always going to be overlapping. I know you saw it. We saw it obviously yesterday in the U.S. Open where, Sam Burns was carrying his son around when he was getting ready to go to the range to loosen up for a potential playoff. You see Wyndham Clark with his dad. That's all well and good, but not everybody's going to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think there's moments that are absolutely beautiful and incredible. And I am the last person to hide. Like there's certain things I'm not going to hide. Like whoever's my significant other, I'm not hiding that. I post Lily, that's my little girl, but there's things that I'm careful about that I won't even talk about on the air because that would take away what I'm doing to be careful. But there's certain things that I do in my own, not because I think I'm some crazy celebrity out here, but because a friend told me a long time ago, he said, you are a public figure. Okay. You work your tail off. Your name is out there. Your name is out there. Your show's out there. Your work is there. We've reached people all over the country. We've reached people outside of this country all over the world. So they said something to me. I don't come with an ego. I don't come with, oh, I'm amazing. Look at how great I am. That's not how I live my life. Hearing you're a public figure, I laughed. But then I thought about it and I thought, okay, well, what does that mean? And so there's very, very clear things that I do that I don't even talk about what I do or why or how I do it. And it's for my privacy and it's for just living in a world where, people want access to people. I like to have privacy. I like to have intimate moments. I like to have, just the beauty of feeling like you're in a place where the person that you're with, you're the only people on the planet and everything's moving around you, but you don't hear it. You don't see it. You're just there. There's something to that. And so I applaud Shohei for wanting to protect his family 100%. I do want to get into something that I said before the break. The Iranian players left a handwritten note in their dressing room in Los Angeles Stadium after their 0-0 draw with Belgium, which mentioned the word peace. The message, which was left after Iran played both of their first two World Cup games in Los Angeles, added that the team will leave the city, quote, with dignity, end quote. The news comes 3 days after Iran's Football Federation said it was planning to lodge a complaint with FIFA amid a dispute over the team's travel arrangements for the Belgium match. The note read, now this was released by the Football Federation of Iran, which is FFIRI, quote, from the ancient Persia of thousands of years ago to the civilized Iran of today, the spirit of Iran remains alive and steadfast, end quote. It went on to say, we came to Los Angeles with pride, competed with honor, and leave with dignity. Thank you, Los Angeles, for your hospitality, and thank you to every Iranian who gave their heart, voice, and soul for Iran throughout these 180 minutes. May peace, respect, and friendship prevail among all nations, end quote. Now, for those of you wondering about this Iranian travel thing, I've talked about it over the last few days and the problem that I have with this. But I haven't talked about it on air. Iran has had to travel from their World Cup base camp in Tijuana, Mexico, restricted before and during the tournament. The team landed in the U.S. on Saturday night, played Sunday at midday local time, and were due to leave the country again Sunday night. They have had this in and out. Teams are where they're supposed to be. Countries are their representative teams in the World Cup. They got to play here on this day. They're there, they're practicing, they're doing their thing. Iran has a shorter time in wherever they're playing because they're not staying in the United States. They're playing, they're going to Mexico, they're coming back. Following the match, head coach, and I'm going to do my best with this, and my apologies, Amir Gallianoy also listed other factors he felt had made Iran's task particularly tough, including visa complications when entering the both U.S. and Mexico, and a lack of preparation time before the tournament began. He previously called Iran, quote, the most oppressed team in the whole World Cup, end quote. The city of Los Angeles has the largest Iranian population of anywhere in the United States. Having claimed 2 draws from games against New Zealand and Belgium, Iran will play their final game against Egypt at Seattle Stadium on June 26, knowing that a win would see them go to the knockout stages in the round of 32. So, Murph, we know that this is a very unique situation. Color me surprised when you see that, moments like this, and I know they're training and trying to qualify for the World Cup years in advance, but that Iran is in the United States, right? That we have that representation amidst everything that is going on. But I feel bad for the Iranian players and the staff that they play, they leave, they come back, they don't have the same amount of time. They're doing something nobody else is doing right now in the World Cup, which is they're traveling a lot more and their windows are a lot shorter to prepare for a game on site. They mentioned peace in the locker room, and I think we have to remember something. When you come from a country and you're at war with another country, sometimes it's easy to believe that that entire country is one bad person, right? That there's people to this day, they hear Germany, they think of Hitler. They don't think about any of the people that were peaceful, any of the people that were not for Hitler, any of the things that are not Nazi Germany. They don't think of Germany now. They think of Germany then. And in the case of Russia, people see Russia, they see the Soviet Union. They don't think that there's good people there because history tells them this is a bad place. And sometimes people fall into, it's not just that someone was bad or a leader was bad or a regime was bad, but the entire nation, 100% of all of the people are bad. And that's not true. There are people in Iran that probably don't want to be there. There are people in Iran that probably don't agree with what's going on. There are people in Iran that are probably scared. And I have a friend who's Iranian, and she has really struggled with a lot of things, including crossing the border just to visit her family. So I'd love to get your thoughts, as I can't help but feel for these players, knowing that they're not the ones on the front line fighting any battle. They're trying to win a match in the World Cup, and they're trying to represent their country. And in a lot of cases, amidst everything going on, these Iranian players that have had to deal with a tougher road are probably the beacon of hope that a lot of Iranians are watching around the world to keep their focus off of the war that's happening. So in a lot of ways, this team is the one thing that they can lock in on that's positive in a negative time. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, my big thing is that you can feel bad for them while also understanding why what is taking place for them is taking place.
Yeah.
So I'm in that boat. So we've basically restricted travel from a lot of places in the Middle East, Iran, specifically Iran. So I understand how difficult it is for them to get in and out of the US right now. I understand why they're making them travel so much. But you also can feel bad for the guys that probably have nothing to do with what is going on with their government, because it's not them, it's the government that is at war with the United States. So while I do feel bad for them, I completely understand why we are making them do that. I'm surprised they didn't play their games in Mexico, with what's going on with that war. I know because it's not just we're not just playing in the U.S. We're playing in the U.S., Mexico, and Canada. I am very surprised that they did not move that group to Mexico for it. But the World Cup is going to do what they're going to do, and we were obviously able to get them in and out pretty easily without any issues. Um, it is seeming like the war is coming to an end, which is a great thing, not just for them but for us and for the rest of the world. It. I get, yeah, they qualified for the World Cup years ago, a year or two ago, so they were always going to be in. And getting in and out of the U.S. has been an issue, but I think the only reason they're even allowed in is because of the World Cup. And I would not be shocked if they were heavily guarded by ICE or whoever else to make sure that nobody tried anything silly. And it's not like we thought they would, but they are from the country that we are currently at war with, and it only takes one to stir the pot and do something crazy that we'd all be in trouble. So I understand why, while also feeling for the players that have to deal with this on a daily basis.
Yeah.
But to be fair, there are much worse places that you can be while you're waiting than Tijuana. There's a lot worse places that you could be, that you could have to be stranded, essentially.
Yeah. Yeah, and so it's just a sad thing, and you hope that there is peace, but just a reminder to people that not everyone is bad. Just because you may not agree with whatever, it doesn't mean that everyone. There is a problem in the grouping of people, and the media does a horrendously good job at grouping people. And what do I mean by horrendously good? It's a horrible thing to do, but they're really good at it. And they're good at grouping race, they're good at grouping religion, they're good at grouping country, they're good at grouping sexual orientation. The media is good at ripping people apart in a community in order to suppress and control that community. And I can tell you that because as somebody who's on the inside, I am friends with about 0.0000000000001% of the media. There's a lot in this media world that is sick. And I feel like I'm here because I do what I love and I love what I do. But I also feel like God commanded me to be here to do what I can do to change or affect or both the world of media. So just so you all know, not all United States people are bad. Not all Iranians are bad. So it's not bad America, bad Iran. It's a tough time in a world that can't seem to get along. And I pray it changes. I pray it changes. Because for everybody from a country or a group or a whatever that may have frustrated you, there's a friend like I have who I see is on the verge of crying all the time. So let's be good to each other. As we move forward here, we look at more division, Murph. Brendan Sorsby. Man, this has been a Sorsby spot in sports. I had to. Dad joke. It was time. Father's Day. So, looking at Brendan Sorsby, this man spent 2 years at Indiana, 2 years at Cincinnati, and he was supposed to spend his final year at Texas Tech. But that doesn't look like it's going to happen. The Big 12 presidents and chancellors have not rushed to pull the league's recently filed federal lawsuit because there's still questions about Texas Tech quarterback Brendan Sorsby's NFL future and any possible legal retribution. So this is where we're at right now. In the timeline, Brendan Sorsby, the season ends. He's a Cincinnati Bearcat. He goes in the portal. He decides to go to Texas Tech. Then he admits that he has a gambling problem. He steps away from the program to figure it out, to get healthy, to take care of himself. He comes back to the program. He's reinstated. And upon Texas Tech saying, "You're good, we're cool, You bet on games. Oh, well, not a big deal. Even though NFL players get suspended sometimes for multiple games, if not the entire season, Calvin Ridley and Jamison Williams. But here we are in college where professional, you get punished. College, they say, he's here. He's our starter. He's our day one guy. Here's Texas Tech moving forward. And then what happened? An unprecedented move by the rest of the country. Not only did the Big 12 teams have a problem, but teams around the country, conferences around the country said, we will not play you. We're going to starve Texas Tech because we don't agree with what you're doing. We refuse to play against Brendan Sorsby. So there's been a lot going on here. The Big 12 Board of Directors is expected to have a call early next week. So that is, I'm looking at this here. So sometime this week, based on when this was written, to discuss the next steps. Some have questioned what, if any, liability could exist for the Big 12 Conference or how it will play out with the NFL, given Sorsby's admitted history of gambling. So a source said, and this is not my source, so take it with a grain of salt, because if it's not somebody that I trust and it's from somebody else, I don't know if this is true or if this is made up. I'm just going to read you what it states. Quote, we don't know the answers to those questions. We haven't done anything different at this point. We're going to reconvene next week to run through all the options. Right now, that case is still active, end quote. The Big 12 filed a federal lawsuit on Monday of this past week in the Northern District of Texas, seeking both a declaratory judgment and injunction relief to allow the league the authority to use its bylaws to potentially punish Sorsby. Sorsby admittedly broke NCAA rules by betting thousands of times. Not thousands of times. Not once, not 10, including 40 times on Indiana football while he was on the team's roster. He has withdrawn his lawsuit against the NCAA and applied for the NFL supplemental draft. He dropped the lawsuit against the NCAA because he needs to be declared ineligible in college by Monday, today, to be eligible for the supplemental draft. The NFL still needs to approve Sorsby's application for there to be a 2026 supplemental draft, which would take place later this summer. And this is going to be interesting because it looks like the Big 12 isn't keen on Sorsby. It looks like the rest of the country of different conferences and schools are not keen on Sorsby, but the NFL is not keen on gambling. And if they do a supplemental draft for Sorsby, they're bringing in an admitted gambler and a repeat offender. So do they bring him in and suspend him right away? That's another question. Where is Sorsby? And will there be made special rules for this man? And will the Calvin Ridleys and the Jamison Williams and so on and so forth of the NFL history have an issue with being punished while they were already NFL players to bring in a guy who's not an NFL player who admittedly has bet thousands of times, including on his own team? The NFL hasn't had a supplemental draft since 2023, and no one's been selected in one since 2019. When the Arizona Cardinals picked safety Jalen Thompson with a 5th-round bid. The last quarterback to enter the supplemental draft was Terrell Pryor, who was a 3rd-round bid in 2011 for the, pardon me while I clear my throat, Raiders. So, as we look at, shout out to the boom, a Big 12 athletic director said the conference could still consider some punitive ramifications for Texas Tech. The source said it wasn't necessarily a case of trying to quote-unquote punish them, but some would like to hold the school responsible for the fees that resulted from the legal squabble. Quote, there may need to be consequences for Texas Tech, even if it works out this way. It was pointed out there's been legal fees involved in this action. Is it right for all 16 schools to share in those legal fees when we didn't have anything to do with starting it? Those are some of the things that are going to have to be worked out, and they will be. End quote. So for one player, one time in history, Texas Tech has pissed off the other members of the Big 12, pissed off other members of the FBS, and placed the entire country in a place where they are willing to change their schedules and force Texas Tech to be in a very, very adverse and uncomfortable situation over one guy who admittedly has a problem. Your thoughts, Murph?
Yeah, this situation's kind of been going for a couple of months now, and knowing what we know about it, obviously he was banned by the NCAA from playing. then it was overturned by the literal Supreme Court of the United States to where he was going to be eligible, and now he's entering the supplemental draft. Everyone talked about for a while that the Jets were going to be involved and this team was going to be involved. I don't think any of these teams want anything to do with this guy. I get he's got a problem and he's gotten help.
Yeah.
But the NFL does not tolerate gambling on games. Your own team or any other team. Correct me if I'm wrong. Calvin Ridley and Jameson Williams were just betting on other games. Right? I don't think they were betting on their own games.
I'm looking. So Jameson Williams was betting on non-NFL college football games from within the team's Allen Park facility.
Yeah.
Is what I'm seeing from this. And then Calvin Ridley, in his gambling, I'm taking a look at it right now. He was betting on NFL games, including the Atlanta Falcons, while he was away from the team. So, but he wasn't playing at the time.
Okay, so it's not like he can affect what happens. So if the NFL doesn't tolerate that,
yeah,
what in God's name makes people think that they are going to tolerate a player that knowingly bet on his own team?
Well, he was on the roster.
A lot.
Yeah.
While he was on the roster many times. This is, folks, Pete Rose on steroids.
Yeah.
If people don't remember Pete Rose and what he did when he was the manager of the Cincinnati Reds, Pete Rose was betting on games, betting on his own team to win. Granted, he wasn't betting on his own team to lose, not like the Black Sox did in 1919, but he was betting on his own team to win. That's not okay, no matter what. Yeah, it's not going to change how you manage a game. If you're betting on your own team to win, it's not going to change how you play. You're trying to win either way, but there's something a little extra there. That should never be the case. So Pete Rose was banned for life. And Pete Rose is the greatest hitter to ever walk the face of the earth. And he died knowing that he will never get into the Hall of Fame while he was alive.
Yeah.
Now he's going to be on the Veterans Committee since they decided to lift that. They decided that lifetime bans end at the end of your life. So now he's eligible for the Hall of Fame. Shoeless Joe Jackson is eligible for the Hall of Fame. This is no different. Brendan Sorsby bet on his own team. Granted, he wasn't playing, but he was on the roster.
Yeah.
I also imagine he probably lost a lot of money if he was betting on Indiana to win. Just saying. But that is never okay. That is not a player that I think the NFL wants anything to do with.
No.
I would be shocked if somebody put up even a 7th-round pick to get him.
Yeah.
I know the Jets want nothing to do with it, and the Jets are probably the most QB-needy team in the NFL.
Yeah. Well,
they're saying maybe the Steelers take a shot.
Yeah.
Maybe the Falcons take a shot. Maybe the Browns take a shot. But why?
Right.
This dude's gonna get suspended as soon as he's put on a roster.
Yeah. And I'm all about second chances, second opportunities, and believing that somebody can change if they show improvement.
There are things that you don't get, you don't come back from.
But
you don't come back from this.
I don't see this Brendan Sorsby situation. Listen, it's going to be a sore spot for any team. It's going to be an issue for any team. And I mean, the team that loves drama and loves suspended players and loves dealing with garbage are the Browns. Johnny Manziel, Deshaun Watson, give me all the problems you got. So Brendan Sorsby would make sense there. But I mean, we'll see what they do. Sorsby looked like he was going to play. I mean, it looked like this opportunity for him by a Texas judge that was going to clear his path to play. But whatever happened behind closed doors, Texas Tech was going to be in a really bad place. And in a world where NIL money's here and it coerces people into the transfer portal, you're not going to, I mean, you're probably going to lose a lot of players on your roster knowing that teams are going to ice you out. The Big 12, the other teams within there might be against you. So, I mean, you might get booed everywhere you go. You're going to have a unique college experience in a negative way. And so do you really want that? Do you really want to be a part of that over one person? So that's the question that comes about. Whether it's one person or 10 people, do you want to put yourself in a situation where your college experience is going to be marred by something that you have no control over that you didn't do? If I was Texas Tech and if I was the Big 12 and Texas Tech accepted Brendan Sorsby onto the team and we're saying, hey, no punishment, no suspension, nothing, then I would go to the NCAA as the Big 12 conference and I would say, could you allow a special transfer portal period right now to anybody from Texas Tech that doesn't want to be there? And then allow those players to leave if they want to leave. And I wouldn't be surprised if many of them did. So the situation is not ideal for anybody involved, but Brendan Sorsby deciding to try for the NFL is the best thing that could have happened at Texas Tech. However, it's not just that this could have happened. If it doesn't happen, Murph, and Brendan Sorsby doesn't play in college, and he doesn't play for Texas Tech or whomever, Texas Tech may think our scheduling problems are over, all of the issues are over. It's not. We now know that you made the decision. Whether the decision happens or not, we know that you made it. It's kind of like you decided to cheat, and then the person you cheated with left you. That doesn't change the fact that you cheated. So in this situation, Texas Tech may have muddied the waters with their Big 12 counterparts. They may have muddied the waters with the rest of the country. They may have muddied the waters with the NCAA. So whether Sorsby plays or not, we are now in a place where Sorsby's effect on Texas Tech may last forever, or at least a very long time, because whether or not he steps on the field for the Red Raiders, they tried to get him on the field, which shows where they're willing to go. And that might be something that affects a lot of relationships for them in the future.
Yeah, it very well could. And is it completely their fault? No, he wasn't on their team when he was betting on games, but they're also kind of just not doing anything about it.
Yeah.
They're just kind of trying to stay neutral.
Yeah.
Just taking this talented player to plug in at quarterback and hoping that nobody bats an eye or anything. And obviously they did. And I mean, to be fair, I would think that the player and it's also not fair to punish the players at Texas Tech. They had nothing to do with this.
Yeah.
The coaches knew nothing about this when they brought him in. The program knew nothing about this when they brought him in. They brought him in, and then they found out. Now, does that mean they should have welcomed him back? Probably not. But at the same time, I'm not going to necessarily hold it against him because he was allowed to play by a judge. They overruled what the NCAA wanted.
Right.
If I'm Texas Tech and you had this guy Mark penciled in as your quarterback, and now you're getting him back all of a sudden, I'm not necessarily going to say no. But it is very understandable why people are upset with them about it.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't shock me. And obviously, he's not going to play now. He's going to attempt to go to the NFL, and I don't think it's going to happen. But we'll see. I mean, we'll see if somebody takes him. I mean, I don't know what happens if he doesn't get picked. I mean, is he just a free agent if he doesn't get picked, or can he go back to college? I don't know. Because if he goes back, because if he doesn't get picked and he can go back to college, this story is not over. There would be more to the story.
Yeah.
Just a matter of when and what.
And I think that, right. And I mean, this is an ongoing thing, but this is a national issue, and it goes off of a bunch of other things. And that is the fact that the NCAA has the by far worst lawyers in the state of law in the history of America. There is no, can we go back in time? I mean, can we go in a time machine, grab Johnny Cochran, who has since passed, God bless him in heaven? Can we go get Johnny Cochran and put him on the NCAA's payroll? I don't know who's running this ship with the NCAA legal department, but they suck at this. And they suck at it so bad that guys are having 11 years in college, 9 years in college.
Yeah.
There's no stopping. I mean, look at Chambliss, the quarterback of Ole Miss. Hey, your eligibility's over. I don't want it to be. Okay. The NCAA says no. They file something in Mississippi. Mississippi goes, you can play. The NCAA fights it, and they lose. How are you as a national body, because the first word in NCAA is national, so you are a national body being told by states, go yourself. So this is where we're at right now. If I disagree with the NCAA, all I got to do is bring them to court. As long as I got the money to go to court and I got lawyers that'll back me up, I'm probably going to beat the NCAA. Okay? Because what cases have they won? The House settlement with the NCAA is now punishing conferences all over the country, taking from them a portion of their revenue every single year. What people don't know about the House settlement that I've talked to commissioners about in the Commissioner Corner series on Wake Up Call, which you should check out, and it's on our YouTube channel on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. There's a Commissioner Corner playlist. You can also watch it on the homepage of wakeupcalldt.com, where I'm constantly updating and putting those videos there. What you may not know that the Big Sky Conference Commissioner Tom Wistersill told me, he said 15% of our annual income is being taken away by the NCAA because they have to pay for these settlements, the House settlement, the race settlement. They are losing money. I just had a conversation with another commissioner over these last few days on the phone that there's things he wants to do for his conference that he cannot do because of the loss of money over the next 3 years for the race settlement and the 8 years of the 10 years total, the 8 years remaining of the House settlement. The NCAA has screwed over their membership because they can't seem to have a law and keep it going. They can't seem to have rules and regulations and have them actually stick. And this is the NCAA's problem because the NCAA is notorious for punishing some but not all. They will punish over here, but they won't punish over there. They'll punish that coach, but not that coach. That program, but not that program. You can talk your way out of this. You can't talk your way out of this. The NCAA has put themselves in a position where they are now, because they're so bad at what they do, they have now affected the conferences within them. Okay? Without your membership, you don't exist. But with the House and race settlements, you spit on your membership. And now with Sorsby, you can't stop a gambler from playing college football. And this Sorsby case proves to me that I think if you're a college player, if you murder somebody, if you sell drugs, if you do drugs, if you gamble, I don't think there's anything that a player can do or a coach can do in collegiate athletics that the NCAA can fight and win. Oh yeah, this guy murdered a couple people, but he's got a really good arm. Give him a chance. The NCAA has proven that they cannot stop anything. They have eligibility rules, people circumnavigate them. They have tampering, people circumnavigate that. You got an admitted gambler that the NFL would punish, and you in college are not punishing? So professional, which is above you, won't stand for this, but you're going to stand for it? The NCAA...
Well, they did punish him, and then they got it overturned.
What I'm saying is the NFL is not going to court over Jamison Williams. They're not going to court over Calvin Ridley. They're not going to court back and forth with all the drama that was Johnny Manziel. They're not doing this stuff. So the NCAA, get better lawyers, build better contracts, and stick by them. You have proven to America that there is no backbone to any law, rule, or regulation you have. If I'm a player, I'm a coach, I'm an athletic director, I'm a president, I'm a chancellor, I can go toe-to-toe with you. I can break every rule in your book. Try to stop me. If I was a bad person in America right now, I would look at the NCAA and go, I'm going to do everything I want to do, how I want to do it, when I want to do it, where I want to do it, and how are you going to make me stop? The NCAA has not provoked anyone to stop. And it's only getting worse. And my prediction over 8 years ago was 5 to 10 years from now, the NCAA will either look drastically different or they will fail to exist if they continue down their path of doing the things they've done. It's only gotten worse. It's only gotten faster paced of that bad. They're on the German Autobahn of terrible decisions and not getting anything done. When I said the prediction, we were at 50, 60 miles an hour. We're at 115 now. The NCAA is about to be eradicated. And I don't know how it's going to stop. And I don't want this to blow up. But when you are a terrible governing body, the fact that you can't get anything done shouldn't surprise you. The NCAA functioned for decades over people not testing them, not trying them, or maybe being afraid. But then one person tried and another person tried and another person tried. And you know what we've realized? There's nothing the NCAA can stop. Because if you can't stop an admitted gambler, you can't stop jack anything, in my opinion.
No, you're 100% right. Granted, they tried, and their lawyers clearly couldn't figure it out. I think the reason the NFL gets away with it is because it's written in these players' contracts.
Yeah.
So they are able to suspend these guys for anything. NCAA players don't have contracts. So that's probably the little line that they're able to squeak past, and that's why these players are able to bring them to court and get stuff overturned.
Yeah.
So to me, I mean, I'm almost ignoring the situation at this point because I know that he's either going to play college football or he's going to get picked in the supplemental draft and get suspended for a year, or 2, or whatever. Because the NFL doesn't tolerate that. Maybe he'll bring legally try to fight that too, but
right.
They always say, like, if you have to get legal involved in order to get what you want, it doesn't always work out in your favor. You may get a ruling in your favor, but the whole situation doesn't always work out.
Right. I mean, and what are we looking at here? And again, and I always come back to this, I do not care how talented you are more than the character that you are. Who you choose to be, how you treat people, what you do with your life, that matters. You can't come to me as an NFL GM and go, yeah, he gambles on games and he's got potentially some bad morals and values, but he can throw the ball. You're never going to have a conversation with me like that. You don't bring me Ray Rice punching a woman in the face and say, well, he's a really good running back though, Dan. I don't care. I have met people in the sports world that are disrespectful to people. So it doesn't matter to me how talented they are. I've been in locker rooms with guys that if I interviewed them, it could have went viral. But I refused to interview them because I was not going to give them a platform on my show for them to have their antics. I'm not that person. I am not beg, borrow, and steal to get what I want. The ends justify the means. I am, if you're not a great person, I will pray for you. If you treat people poorly, I will pray for you. But I'm not going to lay next to you, eat dinner with you, and have you on my show. I don't like liars. I don't like cheaters. I don't like stealers. I don't like people that are doing bad things. I believe in second chances. I'm not writing Brendan Sorsby off. But if I'm the Texas Tech athletic director, you're not playing for me. Because I can live in a world where I want you to succeed and I want you to be blessed and I want you to have a great life. I just don't want you on my team. Because I don't want to deal with that. Because if I bring you on my team and I let you play, I've told everyone on my roster, go break the rules. I'm not going to stop you. And then what am I teaching these kids? See, we're in an America now where there's not black and white, there's gray, right? It's only wrong if I think it's wrong. Some things are wrong, right? Gambling and allowing gambling in collegiate and professional sports is going to come with its bad stuff. And it's going to come with addiction, and it's going to come with problematic people that mortgage their house twice and lose everything and can't pay for their children and end up divorced. There's things that happen from this. There's a danger to it. Alcohol in moderation, gambling for fun in moderation, but some people can't have it in moderation. He obviously has a problem. He's gambled over 1,000 times, and he's not even 25 years old. We're not talking about a guy 50, 60, 70 years old, been gambling for 20, 30 years of their life. We're talking about somebody that was gambling as a child, as a teenager. This is obviously an issue that I want him to work out because more than anything else, I want him as a human being to lead a good life. But my best advice to him as the athletic director or his head coach or a friend or his parent is to say, I love you to pieces. But we got to get a handle on this. And if you put your hand in the cookie jar and I let you eat all the cookies, you're going to gamble until you've lost everything. And Texas Tech allowing this to happen is Texas Tech telling the world, we care more about his talent than we do about his character. And I got a problem with that. We look at his numbers. At Indiana 2022, he wasn't really out there. 2023, he had 57% completion percentage, 1,587 yards, 15 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. In 2024, when he had transferred to Cincinnati, 249 completions, 389 attempts, 64% completion percentage, 2,813 yards, 18 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Last year, he was 61.6% completion percentage, 2,800 yards, so right by the year before, missing it by 13 yards, 27 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. So he's gotten better with time. But I want to go to 2 quarterbacks that are in the NFL that maybe people aren't talking about or giving credit to. Let's go to Cade Klubnik, who was drafted by the New York Jets, not in the first round. The Clemson quarterback, 61%, 63.9%, 63.4%, 65.6% from 2022 to 2025. His best completion percentage was at the end of his collegiate career, 64% overall. He threw for over 10,000 yards. He had just shy of 3,000 in his second season, almost 3,700 in his third season, and just shy of 3,000 in his fourth and final season. His touchdowns in those last 3 years, 19 to 9 interceptions, 36 to 6, and 16 to 6. And this is a quarterback that comes without the drama. Then you look at Carson Beck, who went to Arizona. Again, not a first-round pick. He is a 2-time national champion, and then he left Georgia and led another team from another conference to the national championship game. And in between being a national champion and going to the national championship, he got injured on his throwing arm, had surgery, and came back. So not only has this man commanded and been a part of something, and granted, in Georgia, they're winning championships. He got hurt at times. He obviously got hurt toward the tail end of his career at Georgia. But being on a national championship team and then doing what he did in 2023, 72.4% completion percentage, 3,941 yards, 24 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. In 2024, 64.7% completion percentage, 3,485 yards, 28 touchdowns and 12 interceptions. Then he goes to Miami. He goes back to 72% completion percentage, 72.4 to be exact. So he did it at Georgia and at Miami, 2 different conferences, the SEC and the ACC respectively. Threw for 3,800 plus yards after throwing for 3,900 plus yards a couple seasons ago in Georgia, where he had that 72.4%, and had 30 touchdowns at Miami to 12 interceptions, the most touchdowns he's ever thrown in a season. He goes to a national championship, and amidst all of this, like I said, he goes through surgery with an injury to his throwing arm. So not only did he help lead teams to success at Georgia and at Miami, 2 separate conferences, and he had to go through surgery and heal his body in between. And yet people aren't talking about the fact that Carson Beck has been drafted into the NFL and has a shot. Carson Beck is not looking to sit the bench, and neither is Cade Klubnik. And to both of their credits, they're on teams where they're probably not going to have to. Carson Beck at some point this season will see his play for Arizona. I firmly believe that. And I firmly believe that Cade Klubnik will see action because the Jets don't have a starting quarterback, and they might have to go out and do, Big Brother. I was in New York City going out for Big Brother, and I was asked to come down and audition for the show. Well, during the Big Brother auditions and Survivor and everything else going on, they may have open auditions for quarterbacks in the Long Island area and in the 5 boroughs for the New York Jets this season. So from one quarterback that comes with a lot of issues and a lot of trouble, that doesn't have the numbers that the other guys have, let's talk about 2 guys that don't get the fanfare, Carson Beck, Cade Klubnik. Not drama-related people. I can't speak for Cade, but I can speak for Carson that he does believe in God, and him and I have spoken about his faith. So the media tends to focus on the negative and the sensationalization of things and just focusing on the problem, where I would like to take our conversation off of Brendan Sorsby and put it on Carson Beck and Cade Klubnik. 2 guys working hard, staying out of trouble, and probably going to play at some point this year.
100%. They are both going to start a game this year. Mark my words, for sure. I mean, who do the Cardinals even have on their roster? Is it still just Jacoby Brissett?
Jacoby's there. There's more on the roster, I'll tell you right now. So for the Arizona Cardinals, I just want to look at their updated depth chart and make sure that nothing has changed. So they have Jacoby Brissett, Gardner Minshew, Carson Beck, and Caden Slovis are all on the roster right now. And we know that Gardner and Jacoby have both started games.
Yes, I imagine Gardner Minshew will probably be the backup on opening day.
Yeah.
But Carson Beck's going to play. I can promise you Carson Beck is going to play at some point this year. And when he does, we'll have to see what he's got. And here's the thing about mid-round draft picks. Those guys are developmental guys that you take a flyer on. These are not guys that you're expecting to come in and be a franchise quarterback. You can find guys that can be a franchise quarterback in the middle rounds, even the late rounds.
Yeah.
Tom Brady, Brock Purdy, Dak Prescott. All of these guys are drafted in the 4th round or later. It can happen. So, I'm not going to sit here and say that one of those 2 guys is going to develop into a franchise quarterback. But it's not impossible.
Right.
It very well could. I think Carson Beck might have a slightly better chance because I think he's built more like a professional quarterback. And I think his vision around just watching them both play, I think Carson Beck is the better player. Command of the field, better vision of what the defense is doing. So I mean, if I had to pick one of them to be a potential to be a starter for the future, it'd be Carson Beck. But that's just me. Now, as far as Cade Klubnik is concerned with my Jets, I like the kid.
Yeah.
He works hard. He's gonna play at some point, so we're gonna have to see what he's got. And the Jets are putting weapons around them. The more I've been sitting on it, the more I start to think maybe Geno's got a shot to be half decent because he's going to have a little bit of talent around him. They had nothing in Vegas last year.
Yeah.
And we know when you put some talent around Geno Smith, he can be good. Maybe not amazing, but he can be serviceable. The Jets didn't draft Geno Smith to be their long-term answer. They didn't sign Geno Smith to be their long-term answer. They signed Geno Smith to get him through the year, which is what they did with Josh McCown back in the day, which is what they did with Ryan Fitzpatrick back in the day. And Ryan Fitzpatrick nearly took him to the postseason. Josh McCown was there to help groom Sam Darnold. I think Geno Smith can be a guy that, when he was in Seattle, he had some good receivers around him. He had a good running back around. He had some good, a decent offensive line, good running backs. He's got that with the Jets. So when Klubnik plays, which I do still expect him to do, maybe a little later than I have been saying, but when Klubnik plays, he's going to have some weapons around him.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll have to see how Omar Cooper and Kenyon Sadiq develop, But he's got Mason Taylor at tight end, who was a quality piece for them last year and drafted in the second round out of LSU. Garrett Wilson, who's arguably a top 7 or 8 receiver in the NFL, maybe even higher depending on who you talk to. Breece Hall, who's happy on a new contract. Braylon Allen behind him, who's a bull when he's healthy, and a solid offensive line. And the defense got better. I watched a video yesterday talking about the Jets rebuild, and I'm starting to think more and more like this team could actually be half decent this year. They're not going to make the playoffs, but maybe they can win 6 games, 5 or 6 games.
Yeah.
Maybe that would save Aaron Glenn's job. But Klubnik will play. Klubnik's going to have some pieces around him that can help. He's definitely in a much better situation than Carson Beck is, for sure, because the Cardinals have no direction. The Cardinals have Marvin Harrison Jr. and Jeremiah Love, and that is it. They've got nothing else. Offensive line stinks. Defense stinks. The rest of their weapon... Sorry, I lied. They have Trey McBride. That's it.
Yeah.
So, unless they're throwing a Trey McBride every time, I don't know what their plans are. But I think both of those guys can definitely be serviceable. And like we've talked about before, even if they're just decent backups, that's a very valuable player in the NFL. Is to be a back is you could still make $10 million a year being a backup quarterback. Half the time you don't even see the field. You just practice. You're never going to get hit. And you just chill on the sideline during the game. Whoever backed up Tom Brady for 90% of his career had the best job in all football. Never had to get on the field, getting paid millions of dollars, and you're getting Super Bowl rings.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, these moments are where we can see a star born, truly.
Yeah.
And I'm excited.
You can see it in the preseason for sure. These guys are gonna play a lot in the preseason.
And I look forward to Carson Beck and Cade Klubnik and anybody else stepping up. Right now, I'd lean more on the side of Carson Beck for this initial season in the NFL. And we will take a step aside for a fast break here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. When we come back, I've been waiting very patiently for this. I'm about to let Murph unleash on, will the Jets leave MetLife? Will they find a new stadium? Where? And will they rebrand to the point where they're no longer the Jets, or do they stay the Jets? His thoughts on the New York Jets and the New York Jets' future come up after this. And I, like you, will be a fan inside these Great Lakes Honda City studios because I don't know what Murph's going to say, but I'm really happy to watch. And I'll be back right after this. And now a message from Myers Creek Brewing Company, with locations at their Cazenovia Farm Brewery, Syracuse Inner Harbor Tap Room, and soon-to-be Lake Placid Tap Room.
Well, I think first and foremost, the Feldmeyer family and our team are extremely passionate about what we do. We care very much about what we do. The Feldmeyer family is always investing. Our taproom management team, our brew management team, our marketing management team, and all of the team members that get after it every day, they leave it on the field. They put their heart and soul into it. I know for a fact that everyone that works at Myers Creek wants to be there, and we want them to be there. We want them to feel good about their job. And again, if you've never been to a Myers Creek, especially to the brewery, I want your eyes to open really big. I want you to see how big of a brand this is. I want you to see where we're going. The sky is the limit, and I feel very proud of that, and I'm very excited about that. When you think of designing a menu for a brewery, it's kind of open to a lot of different interpretations. You can do American, you can do Asian, you can do Italian, and you just have to find, how that meets that pub style dining experience, that gastropub vibe. And I think it's super fun for us because obviously we know that, everyone in the world's going to sell a pizza or a burger or a french fry, but what can we do to be different? And what can we do to be true to who we are? We are a brewery, a brew pub. So the flavor profiles are kind of all over the place. place. And I think it's super cool that we have a massive smoker at the brewery in Cazenovia, and we smoke a lot of our products. A delicious smoked turkey. We have barbecue ribs on Sundays. From a pulled pork sandwich to a chicken wing. You go to the Inner Harbor and you go to the Kaz location and you'll find similarities in the menu, but also things that are a little different and also kind of fit those different demographics or different communities, and also hopefully just drive you to try every tap room that we have open at some point, because you get a little something different at each one. We understand how hard it is to, work every day and get after it every day, and when you're done at the end of your day, you want to go out and put your feet up in a good ambiance and good environment. So we take pride in that. We make sure that everyone knows that they're very much valued to us.
Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge, and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have at any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
This is Jim Dispenza, owner of Game Point Sports Complex. You hear the same story across any sport that kids play and any sport that adults play. There's never enough places to play. That was definitely true with volleyball, definitely true with basketball. Could be cheerleading, it could be field hockey, which is what we're seeing now. Every sport has a lack of places to play, and I think Syracuse in particular is a place where it's really bad. Despite the fact that we've got a lot of athletic talent around here, we just seem to have not enough places for people to play, and they're going to different places. They're going to Rochester, they're going to, Buffalo. They're going all different places because we don't have a place here, and I felt like that should change. This was a long project from planning all the way through execution to opening the doors. A lot of work went into it, obviously, a lot of money, a lot of resources, and the dream always was kids being in the gym, having a good time. I've always felt like sports is the most unfiltered joy that you can observe with people, that people can experience, because it is fun, it is a sense of accomplishment, it's all of that wrapped into one thing, and so watching kids going up and down the court with big smiles on their faces has been just amazing experience. I'm looking forward to years to come of that same thing. We've taken the time to invest in multiple sports, and then what we're finding is the mere fact that we have a large, clean, well-lit space has opened a lot more doors for us beyond basketball, volleyball, pickleball. Now we're having some interest from cheerleading. We've got girls field hockey coming in, and then also there's quite a bit of room for spectators. We've got bleachers, we've got benches, we've got a concession lounge where people can get food and drinks. We're going to have multiple sports going at the same time, using every square inch of this place for what it was conceived for, which is basically people to come in, have a good time in the sport that they prefer. We manage each situation differently. Everybody has different ability to afford different things. Some are bringing 10, 15 people, some are just 2 people. I've had a lot of situations where it's a father shooting around with his son, it's a mother playing pickleball with her daughter or with her son, and then those situations come up and we work with people, and that's allowed us to have groups from 2 people up to 30 people and have some flexible pricing behind it. We're an organization that is here to work with the community any way we can, and I guess part of it is just making sure that we have the flexibility to put together a plan that makes sense regardless of the size of your group. So in order to book time, the best option is to go to our website, gamepointsports-syr.com. You can click from there and sign up for events, sign up for your own particular training, sign up for birthday parties, all of that.
And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City studios. Great Lakes Honda City coming to you on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. They are open for sales and service Monday through Saturday and all the time online at greatlakeshondacity.com. I had to read this because I saw this during the break, and it says, somebody said that the World Cup is just the United States having a giant sleepover with the cousins we never see because our parents hate each other. I thought that.
It's funny.
I thought that was great. So
that's a good one.
Here we are with the New York Jets. Could be true, could not be true, but it sparks a conversation that I think is interesting to have. And I was actually down in the New Jersey, New York area over these last few days, and this popped up on my phone, and I thought to myself, yeah, I think I'm going to have to talk about this. And that being that the New York Jets, who used to be in Giants Stadium and now are at MetLife, keep in mind, folks, Giants Stadium was called Giants Stadium, and the Jets had a banner. And what I always said was, it's so nice that the Jets have a loft apartment in the Giants house. It just felt very weird to have the Jets at Giants Stadium like it's your home, but it's never truly your home. It's a temporary home. It always felt weird to me. Then they got MetLife, and when they built MetLife, they said, okay, Giants and Jets, you have this equally. This is your home, the both of you. It's not one more than the other. But then came up the conversation over these last few days that maybe, just maybe, the Jets would be looking to have their own stadium, separate from the New York Giants, break the ties of having both in the same place. The only other place that this happens is in Los Angeles, with the Rams and the Chargers sharing SoFi Stadium, but the Giants and the Jets have done this for longer. So the question, Murph, as a longtime Jets fan, as a lifer, when it comes with the Jets, that if they were, what are your thoughts on them moving? They've brought up Long Island as a potential home. They brought up Queens to be closer to the city, closer to Citi Field, where the Mets play. So that would be great for you, a little 2-for-1. But the question is, do you buy that the Jets would move? Where do you think they would move to if you do believe this? And if they were to go through a rebrand, could you see them not being the Jets anymore, like it or dislike it?
So I've been thinking about this a little bit. I've obviously seen the speculation on social media about it. I don't think they would move, in part because they have a lot of money in the MetLife Stadium. So I don't know that they would necessarily move. However, I would not put it past them. Woody clearly wants to separate himself from the Giants.
Yeah.
And the easiest way to do that would be to not be playing at MetLife Stadium anymore. We've also seen, obviously, all the years about the concerns over the playing surface at MetLife. We're even seeing that in the World Cup on a grass field. That is bizarre to me. But MetLife's kind of just there. I mean, have you been to MetLife before?
I've been to MetLife plenty of times.
Okay.
To see college and pro games and Jets games within that process.
So as you know, MetLife's kind of just blah. It's kind of just there. It's not like this crazy, amazing piece of architecture like you have in LA.
Yeah.
In Inglewood. That stadium is unbelievable. Allegiant Stadium in Vegas. Unbelievable. These new, like the Bills' new stadium they're building in Buffalo is supposed to be amazing.
Yeah.
MetLife Stadium's kind of just there. There's nothing really special about it. It was done in neutral colors to basically manage the two teams that were going to be there, and yeah, it's great. It's about to host the World Cup championship game, but it's just there. There's nothing special about it. I mean, I've been there many, many times, and it's just okay.
Yeah.
You know, I don't really remember the old Giant Stadium all that well, but from what I do remember about it, if you sat at the 50-yard line in the upper deck, you had the best view in the stadium. The same can't be said at MetLife.
Yeah.
It's a little further away from the field.
I was there during a tornado warning.
Oh.
Where they made us in the press box like all get away. There was like the thing started going off on your phone, and it was like either get under the desk, move away from the windows. Like I was there during a game where they had all the fans move back, and there was a cloud that was over the stadium, and I'm just watching this cloud hoping that it doesn't start to like spin. It was insane. So not only have I been to MetLife, but I've been to MetLife during a potential tornado warning. Watch.
Yeah, that's an interesting one.
Yes.
But yeah, it's been talked about for years about, you know, would the Jets move? If they do, where? I think they missed their window, because I think the window of opportunity for them would have been, you know, Steve Cohen is helping build a stadium for NYCFC that's going to be right next to Citi Field.
Yeah.
There is no better place in New York City to put the Jets than right there. You're sharing a parking lot with Citi Field. You're sharing a parking lot with the U.S. Open Tennis Center. There is no better place to put them than right there. Now, there's some spots out on Long Island that could work. Other areas of Queens.
Yeah.
But it made all the sense in the world to put them in Flushing. Because you got the 7 train, you got Citi Field right there with all the parking already there. You know, build a complex. Like, listen, as all of you know, I hate the city of Philadelphia. However, their stadium complex is genius.
Yeah.
All 3 stadiums are right there.
Same.
They share a parking lot.
Yeah. You got the Wells Fargo Arena for the Sixers and the Villanova Wildcats.
And the Flyers. I don't know. You know what? It might be called something different. I don't remember what it's called now.
And then you have the home of the Philadelphia Phillies, and you have the Eagles. And because I've experienced this more than once, they're all together. You can literally park at one and walk to the others.
Oh yeah,
which is
I've been to all
such a
3.
smart thing to do, to say like, here's our college basketball, our NBA, our NFL, our MLB, and you mentioned like NHL with the Flyers. It's all there. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
it's literally like you come to that part of Philadelphia and you get your sports fix in. It's not
And
like
it's just,
Houston,
it's like
where Houston's
just outside
separated.
the city.
Right. And like
Yeah.
Houston, Texas, Houston is literally the city split into 3 pieces. And in order to get here, like you can't be in the city at a Houston Dynamo MLS game and then easily go over and get to TDECU to see the Houston Cougars. I got lost in the city of Houston. And let me tell you something about Houston. When it gets to a certain point in the day, like 4:00 in the afternoon and everybody's home from work and you're walking in the outskirts of it with all the weeds and everything, there's a part of Houston that genuinely looks like The Walking Dead is a real thing. And I'm not trying to knock the city of Houston. It just has a really weird setup. And it's not like Philly where it's like, hey, everything's right here. Like all you got to do is get through traffic and get here and you're good. Houston is like, where do you want to go? Oh, that's 20 miles away. Oh, you got to take a train. Oh, there's no easy way to take the train. I walked to the outskirts of the city, was by the tumbleweeds. It was literally like city. It was like city country, like a line feel to it. I had dress clothes on. I had my laptop bag, and I'm walking on the outskirts of Houston with the sun beating down on me, thinking to myself, I am so far out. I don't even know. Like, it was such a weird experience to be in the city, walk to the outskirts, and have no idea where anything was. The only thing I was trying to do was to get back to my hotel and then try to figure it out again. It almost felt like I was in some weird, like, dream, because, I mean, if I showed you what I did, Murph, and where I walked and how confusing it was, and when I got to the outskirts side of it and I'm looking around and couldn't find anything, it was a very surreal experience. And I don't dislike the city of Houston. I just can tell you that I had an experience there I haven't had anywhere else, which is trying to find life. A rat, a bird, another human being, literally anything.
Houston, we have a problem.
Oh, we did. We 100%. It was such a weird. And then, you know, I go to Dallas, Fort Worth, Arlington area, and you can get lost there too, but there's so much going on and there's people and there's life. But I'll tell you, Houston that was a strange thing. I kind of felt like I was walking to the end of time and then trying to go back into it. It was like this weird thing. It's kind of like when you're playing a video game, like the old video games where you could walk to the edge of it and you could just see like a giant open field. But when you tried to walk, you hit an invisible wall because the game couldn't go any farther. That's exactly where I was. I was at the end of Houston's game, essentially.
Yeah. But yeah, so like Philly, the way that their stadium setup is perfect. There's mass transit that gets there. It's really easy to get in and out. You know, I saw Luke Combs' concert at the Link, and I parked over by the Wells Fargo Center. Granted, it took me 2.5 hours to get out of the parking lot, but you know, that's besides the point. But yeah, like that is something that I think the Jets missed their window to do that and go to Queens, because they're building a stadium right next to Citi Field for NYCFC. You could have easily built a 65 or 70,000 seat stadium to service both teams, the Jets and NYCFC. And it would have been perfect. Right next to Citi Field, easy access from the 7 train. You know, more people from the city would go. I would probably go to less games because it'd be more of a pain in the butt to get to. You know, because MetLife Stadium is easy. It's an hour away for me. But with where that's located, with where they're talking about, and they're talking about probably going out to Nassau County, which there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, the spot that would make sense is if they demolish the old Nassau Coliseum and put it there.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I mean, there's plenty of open places that you can put it out on Long Island, but I don't know how many people would want, like, because there's so many Jets fans in New Jersey. How many of them are really going to go out to Long Island to watch to see them play? It's just like the people from the city that don't want to go to Jersey to watch them play.
Why don't they put it
There's
in
always
Staten
going to be
Island?
those fans that aren't going to want to travel out there.
Of all the boroughs, the one that gets the least amount of love is Staten Island. Why don't they just put the Jets out there? All by themselves.
I'm in. I was born there. But to be fair, there's there's really nowhere to put it.
Yeah.
There's nowhere on Staten Island that you could put a stadium for the Jets, but hell would freeze over before they put the Jets in Staten Island. But as far as a rebrand goes, I would hate that. If you want to change it, if they do go to Long Island and make them the Long Island Jets, all right. But I don't want to see the name change. I don't want to see a rebrand. I don't want to see any of that.
Yeah.
As far as moving goes, I can see it. I don't think it's going to happen, but I can see it. Because MetLife Stadium, for a stadium that is not even 20 years old, is kind of a dump. We've talked about that. And I talked about that earlier. The stadium's kind of just meh. And the playing surface is horrendous. Multiple guys have gotten hurt. They're complaining about it for the World Cup of all things.
Yeah.
And that's a grass field.
Yeah.
Clearly, there's something wrong with the surface underneath the playing surface would be my initial thought. So that needs to get fixed. But could I see them move? Absolutely. Do I think it's going to happen? No. The ideal place for me, though, would be Flushing, Queens, and putting them right next to Citi Field. But I think they're too far along in the process of building the stadium for NYCFC, and in order for them to change the plans for that, a lot would need to happen.
Well, and I don't think they don't want to. I mean, to me, it's like they're not going to want to share. There's no more sharing.
Here's the thing. I wouldn't consider that to be sharing. It would be their stadium. Yeah, they're going to share. NYCFC currently plays at Citi Field.
Yeah.
But sure, they're going to share, but they don't play at the same time of the year.
Yeah.
And it's soccer. It's not big in the U.S. the way it is in Europe. So it's still your stadium.
Yeah.
There are soccer teams, like the LA Galaxy play at, I believe they play at SoFi Stadium, if I'm not mistaken. Dallas's soccer team, I'm pretty sure, plays at Jerry World. Most of these MLS teams are playing in NFL stadiums. They're sharing with the NFL teams. It's cheaper than having their own stadium. The New York Red Bulls have their own stadium. NYCFC is about to get their own stadium. But not all of them do, right? So a lot of them are playing in NFL stadiums, and it wouldn't really feel like you're sharing all that much with them, because it's completely different seasons. I mean, look at like the amount of NHL and NFL and NBA teams that share an arena. Like, you got the Knicks and the Rangers share the Garden. The Devils and the Nets used to share the Continental Airlines Arena in Jersey. The Sixers and the Flyers share the Wells Fargo Center. The Lakers and the Kings used to share the Staples Center. Actually, the Lakers moved from the Staples Center, didn't they?
No, the Lakers are at the Staples Center, but
or did the Kings move? One of them moved.
The Kings moved, but I think they did. But there was the Raptors when they first came out. The old Sky Dome in Toronto was Major League Baseball's Toronto Blue Jays, NBA's Toronto Raptors, and NHL's Toronto Maple Leafs were all in the same place. I will tell you this, Murph. FC Dallas, it has Toyota Stadium, so they do have their own arena.
Oh, they do have their own stadium.
And the LA Galaxy have Dignity Health Sports Park, because they have all grown. I shouldn't say they have all, but a lot of them have grown out of it.
Did they used to?
Well,
did they used to play at those stadiums before
there were teams that when the MLS was starting to grow and trying to grow, they had to kind of share before they had their own. Red Bull New York was playing at Giant Stadium. The first time I went to Giant Stadium was not to see the Giants or the Jets. It was to see the Red Bull. And so they were at Giant Stadium before they got Red Bull Park. There's the MLS now has their own place. Toronto FC, like, they have their own arenas now, but the Houston Dynamo, but there were periods where, they had to grow into it to make sure that there was the fan base and the money to support it
Yeah.
in these cities.
Shows how much I pay attention to soccer.
Well, I know, because the thing is I think your thought process is it didn't have, and it still doesn't have, but it has grown a lot more than you would think.
No, it's definitely grown.
Yeah, so
it's just still never going to overtake the NHL as being the fourth most popular professional sport in America. It's just not.
Well, and there's, obviously the NFL and the NBA, their fight in Major League Baseball. Really, the NBA and MLB are fighting for 2. The NFL is 1. I do want to let something be known, though, about MetLife Stadium. If there were to be a move on April 10th of 2010, this stadium opened officially in East Rutherford, New Jersey. The stadium is home to the Jets and the Giants. The Jets and the Giants each have an opt-out clause. They have equal tenancy at MetLife Stadium. They're in a 25-year lease. That 25-year lease will be up in 2035, but they can opt out of the lease every 5 years with a 1-year notice to the state of New Jersey. So the next time they can do this is in 2029. Tell the state of New Jersey we're leaving MetLife, and then in 2030, that would be in effect. So as of right now,
they would have to start building a stadium now.
Right. So you look at what they're doing, right? So in 2010, their 5 years was 2015, 2020, 2025. Now it's in 2030, and then 2035, and then the lease is up of the current 25-year lease that the Jets and the Giants have with MetLife Stadium. So if the Jets were to leave, they could not already be in the process of that because 2025 was the 5-year. But if they want to do it every 5 years in 2030, they would have to give notice at least a year in advance in 2029. So we'll see what happens in that effect. But there is an opt-out clause, and there is the space for this to happen if they were to do it. I want to make a note here really quick. It's like on topic but off topic. In the NHL, the last 8 champions, and I'm going to go from 8 years ago to now, we have the St. Louis Blues, the Tampa Bay Lightning for 2 in a row, the Colorado Avalanche, the Vegas Knights, the Florida Panthers for 2 in a row, and the Carolina Hurricanes. So for everybody that sits here and says that the NHL is a Canada thing and the NHL is a North sport, there has not been a single Northern champion in the United States or in Canada in the last 8 years of the NHL. Just to make a note of that. And we've had multiple Florida champions over these last 8 years, accounting for 4 of the last 8, 2 from Tampa and 2 from the Florida Panthers. So there's something to be said about the fact that the South, where it's hot, are where these champions are winning. And the coldest place of any of those was the Colorado Avalanche, which I mean, you're looking at nothing. Oh, you're looking at the above the Mason-Dixon line. It's pretty quiet in the NHL. So just to make a note of a sport that people consider a cold weather place, that's not where your champion's been coming from.
That is true. I mean, Canada hasn't had a champion since the 90s. I mean, it's been over 30 years since they've had a team win a championship, since a Canadian team has won a championship. So that's something pretty cool too. But yeah, it's as far as the Jets are concerned, if they're gonna move, we probably need to know about it now because they have to give notice a year prior. I mean, they would give notice now that they're gonna leave in 2030. But they would need to start building a stadium probably in the next year in order to facilitate that. Now, do they do it? Where do they do it? We don't know. Obviously, we know the Chicago Bears are going to be moving to, was it Hammond, Indiana? Is that the name of the town?
Chicago
That's
Bears.
right across the border.
For the Chicago Bears,
I believe it's Hammond, Indiana.
So
is where they're moving.
I'm looking at new stadium. Let me see here. It will be Illinois Village with population of. Oh wow. Let me look at.
No, because they're moving. They're officially moving Indiana.
Yeah. So tourism officials hope Chicago Bears Stadium in Hammond will be year-round attraction. So yeah, the Chicago Bears moving to Hammond, Indiana from Chicago, Illinois, and Soldier Field. That's going to be a really weird
The Indiana Bears.
The Indiana Bears. But I will say this, in the rebrand of the New York Jets, they've been lying to everybody since their institution playing in New Jersey. So if they actually were to move...
Since the 80s when they moved to Giant Stadium, they played in Shea Stadium in the 60s.
So they've been lying for a long time, for decades. So if they were to rebrand, they could actually just stay the New York Jets because currently right now they're the New Jersey Jets.
Basically, yeah. But no, I think I wouldn't hate the idea of them moving away from the Giants just because I think, everybody sees MetLife Stadium, they think of the Giants, they don't think of the Jets. So it would be cool to see them have their own place. Like I said, I still think the best place for them to put it would have been Queens. Share it with NYCFC. They're gonna have the casinos there and Citi Field. And everything's gonna be there.
Yeah.
But now you're not gonna have that, and who knows where they end up going, whether it's out on Long Island or if they go somewhere else in the city. The only other place I can maybe see them going is somewhere in Brooklyn. I mean, you can't go to Manhattan. There's nowhere to put it. You're not going to go to the Bronx because the Bronx is a dump. You're not going to go to Staten Island because it's hard to get to.
Murph is always making friends. By the way, just to have a little thing here, the opinions, thoughts, and statements made by Brendan Murphy are not formally acknowledged as part of Dan Tortora Broadcast Media, LLC.
What? Did I say the Bronx was a dump?
Hey, listen, I don't have a problem with the Bronx. So.
I know. It's just my little slight at Yankee fans there. But no, there's no place to put it in Manhattan. They're not going to do it in Staten Island because it's too hard to get to. There's some areas in Queens. There's some areas in Brooklyn. I wouldn't see them putting it in the Bronx. They'd put the Giants in the Bronx before they put the Jets in the Bronx, mostly because the Bronx is a lot of Giants fans. Because a lot of Yankees fans are also Giants fans, so that would make sense. So that's why I'm saying maybe either Brooklyn or Queens, but I don't really know where else you could put it in the city until you go out to Long Island. Well, and it's probably somewhere. I think your best bet is honestly the site of the old Nassau Coliseum. You knock it down and you build. You build a stadium there, Nassau County Stadium or something like that, and the Jets have a new home.
Well, and I could say this. I mean, if they want, and that's in Uniondale, New York, you could come to Syracuse. We have space. So if you'd like
they're probably not. They wouldn't move upstate.
I know.
Unless they went to Westchester, they're not going to move upstate.
Yeah, I'm just messing, but I'm just saying. Since they're ripping apart all of our roads, they might as well put something in the city. With that being said, Murph, we appreciate you being on the show. I know we spent a lot of extra time with you here on Wake Up Call today, folks, as we always do, under promise, over deliver. I promise you 2 hours. We will hit 3. Murph, as always, I appreciate the conversation. I look forward to talking with you soon.
Of course, my friend. Have a good week.
You too. Say hi to Dad.
Will do.
That coming from Brendan Murphy here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. Let's take our final step aside for a fast break, and we will spin back around momentarily to wrap up today's show from the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Stay with us.
Avicoli's restaurant, located on 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York, has been serving our community for decades. Your place to go for home cooking on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road is just minutes from Liverpool High School. And every single month, Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is on site, on location, with Liverpool sports, student athletes, coaches, and administration telling their stories throughout the year. We look forward to seeing you on site at Avicoli's for their casual pizza side, their fine dining, as well as their bar. And of course, you can order online at myavicollis.com. That's myavicollis.com. For takeout, delivery, and catering, call 315-622-5100. That's 315-622-5100. Come on in to the neighborhood spot Avicoli's, open 7 days a week in Liverpool, New York. K9 Campground Dog Boarding is your home away from home for your furry-loving friends. Open 7 days a week with drop-off and pickup times in the morning and later on in the day and early evening. K9 Campground Dog Boarding is the spot to trust with your dog for short and long-term stays. Call 315-299-4013 for more information. That's 315-299-4013, and go to k9campground.com as well. That's K9, ground.com, where you will find all of the information on their different cabins, which include the classic cabin, executive cabin, grand cabin, and luxury cabin. K9 Campground Dog Boarding, where your dog will have indoor and outdoor areas as well as their own private cabin for any size, any breed, as well as dogs with different needs. Dog parents and dogs alike choose K9 Campground Dog Boarding. Isn't that right, Lily?
Hello, this is Dylan Husted, the owner of the Baked Potato Express. We do mostly big festivals or big corporate like private events. Typically just big festivals such as like Taste of Syracuse, Food Truck Battle, Battle of the Wings. I do the State Fair. They're ordering from a fresh food truck that is making real food and happy to make it and wants them to enjoy every bite. We season every potato before they go in the oven, and then they bake for an hour, and when they come out, we season them again after we cut them. We use real butter, real cheese, real ingredients, so it's all really good food and people love it. We have a lot of returning customers and regulars that we see very often. The customers really make a big impact, and this is a big food truck community. The events here are super busy. It's like in my blood. I like building things and creating stuff that people love, and me and my friends are the ones that run the truck, so it's kind of, we keep it's a tight circle in there, and we have like a family sort of oriented truck, and it's a lot of fun, and we have a good time doing it, and people love our food, so it ends up making it well for everybody. You can contact the Baked Potato Express at thebakedpotatoexpress@gmail.com or the Baked Potato Express on Instagram or TikTok. We are very happy to be partnered up with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora as the exclusive sponsor of the Annoying Moment of the Week. And be sure to try DT's Baked Potato creation at all of our food trucks. The Baked Potato Express. Let's get baked.
Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks coming to you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York is your one-stop sports card and trading card shop. Head to GG Cards and Breaks Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 6, Sundays from 10 to 5, and go be a big kid. Get closer to the teams you love, the players you love, and the games you love to play. They have Disney Lorcana, Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon, One Piece, and more, including soccer, hockey, basketball, baseball, football, singles, packs, boxes, graded cards, and they're the only place that I know here in our community of Central and Upstate New York that has every MLB, NFL, and NBA team with their own box, and you can go through it and find rookie cards, potential autograph cards, as well as numbered cards, relics. It's not just base cards you're going to find in these boxes. Where else can you go to be a fan of, here in the state of New York? Let's say you're a fan of the Cowboys in the NFL, of the Cincinnati Reds in MLB, and you're a Boston Celtics fan in the NBA, and you can go to GG Cards and Breaks, and every time you walk in, find something related to their teams. There's something special about a place that goes the extra mile to the nth degree to make sure that you have a great experience every time. And if you knew the people behind the scenes and in front of the scenes, like I know them, you would know that Josh Anthony and this entire team put together so many amazing things and put in so much work to make sure that every time you walk in, there's something new in the cases, there's something new on the walls to see, and there's a great new memory to make. Head off to GG Cards and Breaks on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York throughout the week. Big time shout out and many thanks to Chick-fil-A in DeWitt. Chick-fil-A in DeWitt on the corner of Bridge Street and Erie Boulevard wants to see you. They have their new pineapple dragon fruit drink, on top of the fact that they have all of the favorites you're used to. The nuggets, the original, the spicy, and the grilled chicken sandwich. We now have the return of a chicken sandwich that some of you may love. So the seasonal chicken sandwich at Chick-fil-A that is now on the menu that you can go and get today. That sandwich being the honey pepper pimento chicken sandwich. It's a classic or spicy fried chicken fillet on a toasted bun topped with custom pimento cheese, mildly pickled jalapenos, and a drizzle of honey. Head over to the corner of Bridge Street and Erie Boulevard. You can't miss it. The giant brick building that is Chick-fil-A in DeWitt with the double drive-thru and big dining room as well as massive parking lot is waiting for you today with Megan Sorber and her team. Go and get your favorites and your seasonal surprises at Chick-fil-A in DeWitt. With that being said, I want to thank you for tuning in on today's episode of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on youtube.com and facebook.com, both /wakeupcalldt, and on wakeupcalldt.mixlr.com. We appreciate you being there as well. And then, of course, Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. Many thanks to our incredible team of partners in Central and Upstate New York. Visit them at Great Lakes Honda City, the Wildcat Sports Pub, GG Cards and Breaks, Ma and Pa's, the snack capital of the world, Myers Creek, with a location on the countryside on 33 Rippleton Road in Cazenovia, as well as on 720 Van Rensselaer Street in the Syracuse Inner Harbor by the Syracuse Aquarium that's currently being built. The Baked Potato Express, Pizza Man, Chick-fil-A Cicero, Skippy's Ice Cream, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Brian's Landing, Gray's Craze of Clay, New York, Game Point Sports Complex, Avicoli's, Chick-fil-A in DeWitt, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, Willow Rock Pizza Pub, and the Willow Rock Brewing Company, Mother's Cupboard, and of course we are the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Binghamton University Bearcats. Find the Bearcats during Bearcat Time with student athletes, coaches, administration, and alumni joining me right here every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time around the world. You can find all of our content by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find our Binghamton playlist. The Bearcats are also on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to binghamtonbearcats.com and go Bearcats. I want to thank you all for being here on the broadcast of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and for Ma and Pa's popcorn and kettle corn and everything that they offer to you. Ma and Pa's popcorn.com to order from wherever you are, and Ma and Pa's is located on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. For those of you in the community, they give you the list of topics and guests of the day. So thank you to Ma and Pa's for what's poppin'. Brendan Murphy, speaking about the U.S. Open, Major League Baseball, the NFL, fans, how to be respectful and kind, the Brendan Sorsby saga, and so much more. This full broadcast will be aired on all of our wonderful platforms, the Amazon Music, Spotify, TuneIn, everything that I mentioned. And of course, this video will be on playback on YouTube and Facebook, both /WakeUpCallDT. For now, from the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, I thank you all for being a part of the show. And I say, God bless, no stress, do your best. We'll talk soon. Take care.